We are live. Welcome to Hardly Initiated Live. It is your host, Tyshawn Jackson, here with the first ever Friday night live episode with my co-host, Ryan Ketchens.
Very special episode tonight, man. Friday special.
This is for the people, y'all. This is for the people. We did this one special for y'all because, the responses that we had, the first show we ever did with Dr. Spirit was just so crazy. It was a standing ovation. The people said encore.
Yeah, over 100,000 views.
Over 100,000
views. A couple of weeks.
And the impact, the views don't even speak on the impact. I'm talking about my own family was hitting me up.
Really?
Yes, they came out the woodworks. I mean, they said like I needed that. Like that's what it was. Like the response was I needed that one, and it was that one I didn't even know I needed, but I needed that one. Hallelujah. So this one here is for y'all. This one here, y'all. This is here Friday night, Free Advice Friday with Dr. Spirit. Y'all go ahead, get your hair combed up. Go ahead, get your lighting right because we about to be bringing the family on camera here tonight. And y'all are about to be talking with Dr. Spirit and much needed before the holidays. Didn't you say this is like one of the more stressful times of the year, isn't it?
Oh, like one of the most stressful times of the year because it's holidays, especially now. You have everything that's happening in the Middle East. You have folks that are being laid off all over the place. You have inflation at its highest. You have all of this spending that's supposed to happen. It's a rough time. It's a rough time. But before we even get into that, can I just say I'm hating? Because I didn't get the sweatshirt memo, gentlemen.
Yeah, iconic.
Right.
It's iconic tonight. Shout out to Dr.
Legendary, unforgettable.
Absolutely. We're gonna try to get you hooked up.
With a medium for your girl. That's all right. We just
we got you next time, Dr. Spirit. We're gonna take care of you.
Humanity over everything. That message is powerful though. That's needed tonight.
Amen.
So you rocking, you doing what you're supposed to do.
Me. Y'all do you with your little sweatshirts. Left a girl out, but that's okay.
Yes. Hey, look, shout out to everybody here with us on a Friday night. Y'all are some wholesome folks. If you were hardly initiated live right now on Friday, but we gonna feed your souls tonight. And you're so right, man. It's a lot of anxiety, with people as it relates to being around family. People rather do Friendsgiving than Thanksgiving.
That's why we got it now, right? And that's the one that most people want to go to. That's the one that gets them charged up either before or recharges them after, because the whole idea around so many people with their families, unfortunately, we faking, we fronting, we holding our breath, we're praying, we're trying not to fight, we're fighting. It's a lot going on. So healing all around. That's what's needed. Man,
so y'all listen, I am very excited for y'all. So as y'all know, when it's time, we're going to drop the link and we're going to go ahead and let you guys come on here because most of this conversation is going to be for the family. So Free Advice Fridays is something that Dr. Spirit does. And she's doing it here today with Hardly Initiated in our family. So we're going to be bringing y'all up and having a conversation. How did this even pop off? When did you start doing Free Advice Fridays?
Oh man, it's been probably 7 or 8 years now.
Wow.
And we've been doing this every Friday. We usually do it at noon Eastern Standard Time is what I tell folks. We have folks from all over the world that join us. It's so exciting.
I can imagine.
So yeah, I say this is the place that we get to come to talk about any and everything related to, let's tell them, your mental health and wellness, because our Free Advice Friday family is joining us. And so they know. So they're going to usher y'all folks in. Okay. They're going to say, hello, listen, guys, we're merging families because that community is important, right? So when it comes to Free Advice Friday, we say that this is the place that we get to come each and every week to talk about any and everything related to your mental health and wellness. And if you've never joined us, then we want you to recognize that everything is either impacted by or impacting your mental health and wellness, which means for this next, I would say hour, but who knows? Who knows? So for these next few hours, for as long as we're on the microphone, there is nothing that we can't talk about. And so we got to figure out how we do this. Now, typically what we do is we have 2 ways that people can ask questions. Okay. They can go ahead and drop questions in the chat. They just start typing, hit enter, send, return, arrow key, whatever it is on their device. Y'all can read it. We can answer it live, or we will usually let them, if they like to remain anonymous, we let them drop their questions in my inbox. That way nobody knows that they're the ones doing the asking. We copy and repost those questions anonymously using our T2S Enterprises badge. And then, of course, tonight, I think think we have the ability to pull some folks up. But I don't need them to be cute. Now, let's understand. If you were sitting at home and you got your bonnet on, you done took the lashes off, bruhs, that shape up, that lineup ain't happening until tomorrow, we still want to talk to you.
See
okay,
Dr. Spirit.
Good.
Yeah, all right.
She
Dr. Spirit gonna let y'all
us.
lie. She gonna let y'all slide with the bonnet.
I just come on with it. I'm gonna let you slide with the bonnet. Listen, during COVID, we hosted a monthly work group for doctors. We called it Doctors in Bonnets. And it was the one place that Black women got to come who were doctors across every genre, that we didn't have to get cute to come in and talk about the stresses and the strain and the struggle. And we were able to have community with each other every Sunday, once a month. So we came in with our little bonnets on, no lip gloss, the tea, and we talked about everything that was getting us. And so that's what this is about. Free Advice Friday, this is where they come to get the tips, the tools, the techniques, the referrals, the resources, the advice, the professional perspective, sometimes the personal perspective, everything they need to make their life go.
I'm already looking at the chat. The chat is going crazy. So we got close to 400 people in the room already. And we already got some members too, some new initiates. Shout out to Naya, shout out to Ashley, Couture, Love, and Lavani. Already.
And look, just so y'all know as well, the way we're gonna do it here, because Dr. Spirit has let y'all know the dress code, so I'm okay with that. Keep it casual. Loud. Look, we're gonna keep it absolutely 1,000 real tonight. But here's what I need. We are gonna. There's two ways that we're gonna take your information tonight and take your questions. You go ahead, and my people obviously we're gonna prioritize all of my super chats tonight. All of those questions, we're going to prioritize that to come up and take those first. And also that the video link, we're going to be putting that in the chat, and we will be taking people up live on air. Okay, we'll be bringing you right on up here to talk to us face to face.
Now,
so that's going to be happening.
Some people still want to stay anonymous.
They may want to.
Right.
They may want to.
So I still want those people to be able to send some questions in too. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna shut the chat down to initiates only. So that way the chat is not moving too fast. So if you just drop your question in that chat, we'll be able to pull out those anonymous questions from the chat as well.
There we go. Okay.
So man,
family,
check it out though. I actually
we got headsets on.
We got headsets because we got to talk to the people.
Okay, let's go.
Because check this out. I actually had something interesting. I want to start here with this, because we're going to start with the people. I told them Dr. Spirit was coming up on here, and they said, I got something that only I think a Dr. Spirit can help me with.
Oh, well,
and they said, I need some help.
Interesting.
Okay. Something going on in the family. She sent a nice lengthy message on our Facebook. Shout out to everybody that still follows us on Facebook and said, listen, all comments, DMs, emails that y'all send us, y'all, we're very active. Nobody else is reading those. That's me and Ryan. Okay. So I'm going to read this one to you.
Come on.
And this one is heavy, y'all. So we're going to pop it off like this. We're going to set the tone.
They don't know how Free Advice Friday works yet, do they? Okay, let's go.
All right.
We're about to find out.
So she says, anonymous, wants to remain anonymous.
Okay.
I befriended a man that shared me with his previous girlfriend. Okay, hold on.
No, when you say shared.
Yeah.
Hold on. I got to read this right.
Did you read it first before you bring it to the... Okay.
No.
I'm a
Okay,
therapist. We can talk about it all. I just want to know, shared
this.
like they shared sexually,
That's what
or
I'm thinking.
shared like I showed you the picture?
I befriended a man that shared with me. His previous girlfriend was pregnant. So she shared the information.
That's different. See, you messing up already.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry, y'all. Work with me, okay? He was unsure if the unborn child would be his. He also shared the unborn child could be his ex-best friend's because he'd caught the two cheating.
Okay.
I vocalized to him to be sure to get a test because women will try it. And if it's yours, you have to take care of the child. That's what she said. Our friendship turned into a relationship, engagement, and over 30 years of marriage. The young lady had the child. Now listen, my at the time boyfriend signed the birth certificate. No test. I was concerned. We jointly raised the child and co-parented with the ex. All right. And shortly after our marriage, we had more children of our own together.
Okay.
It was lots of love, but equal bickering and chaos. Meanwhile, the child's mom is pulling out all the stops of torturing towards me and his family towards him. He went against their grain. The ex-girlfriend wanted my husband back. Our family was ostracized from his family. The behavior was and toxicity lasted 17 to 20 years. We paid the young lady child support directly monthly. My husband got a DNA when the child was approximately 14 years old without the mom's knowledge, just to know for certain. The results came back and the child is not his. All right.
Wow.
He gently told the child and things got a little worse. His family, the mom or the child, doesn't talk about it. It's like they swept it up under the rug. It's one of the most bizarre things I've ever seen. There must be tons of trauma packed inside. I do worry if the child will ever fully heal. Though our immediately family has put the pieces back together, the deception created division between our children's biological, paternal, grandmother, aunts, uncles, cousins, etc. It robbed them all of authentic relationships. The deception was emotionally abusive from week to week because we keep her every weekend and summer. So at the sight of one another, there will be words. I even filed police reports. It was toxic and embarrassing. Look, she really said, can we please have an honest and discussion on how these deceptive practices, behavior can destroy people beside the child and all of those impacted. So that was the situation.
Okay.
So
that was
so
loaded.
Here's the thing. Okay.
Loaded.
First and foremost, the numbers. I have so many questions about the numbers because I heard 13, then 17, then 14. But let's just take this at face value, right?
Yeah.
And what she's talking about is all the toxicity. She's talking about all the problems that happened in this family. And what I'm going to say is all of this could have been avoided had he got a DNA test. He chose not to get a DNA test. And let me tell you something. All of the adults in this situation failed this child. He chose not to get a DNA test. His now wife, who wrote in, chose to accept that he was going to be the father of this child, and she moved forward in marriage and not get a DNA test. I'm assuming that all the parents, everybody else knew. He waited until that child was 14. At that point, he was the only father that this child knew.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He signed the birth certificate, which said, I am making the decision to legitimate myself and to step in as this child's father.
Yeah.
And then he decided somewhere down the road that DNA was going to make the difference. And the family decided somewhere down the road that DNA was going to make the difference. I tell people all the time, we have two families. The family that is our biology, we don't get to choose that. Your biological parents are always going to be that. Your biological siblings are always going to be that. But we also have our chosen family, as you talked about, right?
Yeah.
This Friendsgiving, right?
Right.
That is our chosen family. He chose to build this family and then chose to destroy it by their actions. So what I would say is this family has to stop and take stock. The daughter chose to sweep it under the rug because this is her father. This is her mother, her stepmother. This is her family.
She like, it don't matter.
Hello. This is the family that she knows. And so the question is, what does peace and healing look like in this family? What does acceptance versus rejection look like in this family? What do they want to build and where do the boundaries need to be set? And so now at this point, all of the grownups have to come together. But if you're the child who stands to lose everybody, why should you be the person and why would you be motivated to be the person that's going to step up to be the leader? We've got to get some grownups in check here. And we've got to get some heads of the household deciding, are you going to stand by the commitment that you made all those years ago? Or are you going to say, I'm sorry, I've changed my mind. And this is what that means.
Wow.
And that's such a tricky situation for the child because not his child now. I don't know what wasn't clear is if now he just forfeited his responsibility as a father.
Legally, he can't. He legitimated. He paid child support. According to the law, that is his child.
Oh, it's too late.
It's too late.
Well, I mean more so emotionally.
Wow.
Like, I mean, if he forego the emotional responsibility, like he no longer hangs with the child, and because now this child is in a situation where he has an emotional bond with this man. And I can imagine this man is now dealing with some level of betrayal. And
betrayal by who? He knew before he showed up and signed the paperwork. His wife knew and suggested to him while they were dating, hey, you should really get a DNA test. So now this child doesn't know. Clearly, you're not my father, according to the DNA. And then you did it not just behind my back, but behind my mother's back. So what was your motivation 14 years later?
Well, what is the motivation?
That's the question. Was that something that happened between the couple? Was that something that happened within the family? And so how has the family been navigating this the entire time? Yeah. There's so much here. And so we have to get clear on what it is that we want for ourselves and for our families. We have got to do better. And listen, especially as communities of color, family has always looked different for us. Yeah. It has never been just about biology because we have not had that luxury since we stepped onto this continent. But even when we were in the African diaspora, community was community. There were some villages where nobody knew who the father was. There are some villages where everybody steps up and goes to have sexual relationships with a woman when she is pregnant because they don't want to know who the biological is. We are all responsible for this child or these children because it truly takes a village. So this family is going to have to come together and decide really and truly, what is it that you want for your family and what does healing look like for you all now?
So just for clarity, if that ever happens to somebody, if a man does find out through the, especially with preteen, or the more maturing years of a child's life, do you think that they should continue the responsibility of being the father in that child's life if they were to find out that they were not?
Well, I think it's about motivation and willingness to be present. If you still have the drive to be able to do it. But I always want to know, when you make the decision at that age to go ahead and have the DNA test, I want to know what are the dynamics surrounding that. And it's not just your decision. That's the decision of the child. That's the decision of the other parents. There is so much to look at there. And so if you recognize me continuing a relationship would bring more harm than good, then we may have to figure out a different plan for everybody. It's really about, can you love? And I love to tell folks, I have a blended family. So I have a stepdaughter, and I only say step when I'm trying to explain to other folks. She's been with me since she was 2. So you tell her she's step and she'd be like, I'm gonna step all up on your neck. Okay. She's like, we just don't play that in our family. But I always was able to tell her, you grew in my heart and not my belly. And by the way, I thank you for that because we needed that. So family just looks different. And it's really a question of, where is your heart? Where is your loyalty? Where is your love? And there are so many of us that have all different kind of mothers, all different kind of fathers. We got mothers, we got biological, we have step, we have godparents, we have play family, we have everything. So this is really a problem because somebody or some group collectively in the family decided that it was. How do you get to the root of the toxicity and heal that? That's the real question.
I'm very curious about this one because did she give any, the young lady who sent you the message, did she give any perspective in terms of how she feels about the situation?
Well, it's a paragraph afterwards that I didn't really go much into. I could see if she did, but I read you guys about 80% of it. So, but I'll go in and check as we're still going in here.
Yeah, because she has to be upset, right? Because the thing
she was upset from the beginning,
right?
But be mad at your man because you asked your man to do a thing, but also be mad at yourself because you decided, even though your man didn't do what you suggested that he do, you move forward to get engaged, you move forward to get married.
I'm sorry.
And she dealt with 14 years of this toxic relationship with the other baby mom.
And then I heard 30 and wait, let's see what
he says. She said our children too suffered from this, as well as me and my husband the most, and how it impacts generations. He still calls and checks on the child, but it doesn't seem as though the child's as into him as he is the child, though the now adult child refers to him as dad. I could use help processing.
This is classically what family therapy looks like. This is about motivation. This is about desire. This is about rebuilding. This is about wounding. There are so many layers to this. And everybody has to be honest about their intentions because what we say with our mouth oftentimes does not align with our behaviors. So we're talking about these children have been wounded. Why? We're talking about the wife has been wounded. Why? We're talking about he has been wounded. Why? And she says, my husband has been wounded the most, but the husband is the one who has been driving all of the action. So are we surprised now that the child who had to get this blow at 14 somehow has pulled away, has withdrawn, is not necessarily wanting to deal with the situation at this point? The child is the actual victim. The other children are the actual victims. How do we cover the victims here and then begin to repair by leading from the front?
Oh,
This man has got to work on putting his family back together if that's what he wants.
And it's interesting that the child is, he feels a way towards this guy who, I mean, some people will call it noble, because he.
What part is noble?
Well, I mean, he stepped up and, went ahead and took care of a child that wasn't biologically his.
And then I snuck. Well, see, I thought it could have been mine or it could have been my boys, but I decided it was going to be mine. I went and signed the paperwork. I went and financially supported. And then I had something that made me decide almost a decade and a half later to sneak to go find out the real answer. And then to gently tell you that you're not my child, even though I made the decision when you were born to make you my child.
And I think I missed that part. It was either the fathers or his friends.
Yeah, his ex-best friend.
His ex-best friend.
Okay, I totally missed that part. Okay, wow.
Yeah, I'm a teacher. You got to hear every detail. Every detail matters in the story.
It's crazy.
That is crazy.
That's really crazy.
So now I'm just curious. Who is the father?
It's either the ex-best friend.
Yeah.
Or somebody else.
Maybe, right? Maybe.
Well, it's either the ex-best friend or somebody else.
Yeah, or somebody. Yeah, or somebody. Okay,
for sure.
Yeah.
Oh man, actually, this is kind of weird because it kind of oddly brings me to thought of my childhood, which is kind of weird.
What did it trigger?
I actually, so my mom met like my stepdad that I call dad my whole life growing up. He was introduced to my life at a very young age, and it's so weird how the mind works because he was introduced in my life at such a young age. I literally grew up thinking he was my biological father. Like I didn't even really know, like growing up. Like I was like, oh, it's my dad. Call him dad.
Because he's the only person that you know.
Yes. Now we didn't have the best relationship growing up. And it was more so like personality type. Like he just was kind of like that guy. But lo and behold, I remember just common sense kicking in over time. And just being like, I don't really look like him plus my mom. And just naturally being curious. And I started poking around and digging around. But that was actually like a family secret. That was like a family secret.
Oh, so nobody ever explicitly told you?
Nobody ever really explicitly told me.
That this is not your biological
That this is not my biological father. Except one of the boldest, most gangster people in my whole family was my grandma. Like my grandma was known to be the person I was going to say what should not have been said, but should have been said.
Grandma's just gonna blow it up.
Yeah.
Oh man, she was that person in my family. And I remember one time I came to my grandma and I pulled her aside because she was actually, I think she was living with us at this time. And I was like, Grandma, it just don't seem right. Like, what's your thought? Like, is he really my dad? Like, I really like cornered her.
You were asking the question.
Yeah, I was. I was like, is he really my dad? And she was like, no, he's not. And I remember going upstairs and having that conversation with both of them. And I seen this feeling of shame in both of my parents. And the interesting thing is I didn't take it. I was still very hurt because now I instantly had a whole identity crisis. That's what I was experiencing, an identity crisis. I'm like, what do you mean my dad's a whole Puerto Rican? Like, what are you talking about? I thought I was Haitian.
Wow.
Like I was even telling people I was the wrong thing. It was like instant identity crisis. So the funny thing was that I when I went to talk actually to my, to talk to my dad about how he felt about it and why he didn't tell me. And he was just saying, I just didn't want you to think differently of me. That was his explanation. But me as a kid, I didn't think differently. I was like, why would I be mad at you?
May I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Did you ask your grandmother because that was your trusted person? Like you didn't trust your parents to tell you the real answer?
I had me and my grandma had a super deep and close relationship. She was my trusted person. Yes, she was.
I want to talk to your grandma. I want to talk to your parents too, because I want to know, like in terms of like violation, do any of them feel like that was her place to have that conversation.
I'm sure they don't.
With them.
I'm sure they don't.
With their son.
Yeah, I'm sure they don't. Well, my grandma, she's no longer here.
Mm.
But you know, I'm sure they don't feel like that was her place. Like I'm sure. But I think it had been had when it needed to be had. Because I think I was like right about 6th or 7th grade.
Mm-hmm.
I was getting old now. Like I was starting to have sense. And it was very confusing. But again, that story reminded me of this because similar ages where now you coming into this place where you realize what you thought about yourself is not true.
Yeah.
And he's confused about who to have this bond and relationship with. And it seems like he actually took it very differently from me. Because I actually looked at him, you know, my pop's like, wow, that was actually kind of noble because I wouldn't have had any, you know, male presence in the house. I wouldn't have had a provider to help us, you know, operate. That's how I took it. He took it as, or is taking it as, obviously he's responding less and less.
Yeah.
He's like, this dude ain't even, he probably thinking this dude ain't even my father, man. It's who I don't know this dude. He ain't my dad.
Or maybe
I don't know.
He's in the middle of an identity crisis and he's shattered and he doesn't feel like he can trust anybody and he doesn't feel like anybody wants him.
Right.
His dad was the one that shattered him. So what did his dad communicate in that situation to him? There's a whole lot of violations, but the two things that I think are really great here in this conversation and you're sharing is one, that Free Advice Friday, we love to teach everybody that there is nothing you're going through that somebody else hasn't already been through, isn't in right now, or won't be going through behind you. So these are universal issues that we're all dealing with. And two, recognize that children are recorders. They are recorders, even though they can't contextualize what you are saying and what you are doing around them now. Understand that the age comes where all of a sudden they start to question the things that they experienced previously. And they start to go, is that what that was? Wait a minute, they told me this, but it feels like this. Is this what this is really? That's why it's so important for us to protect our children and be careful what we are exposing them to at every age, because I promise you, it will come back around for them. And so will you, and every role that you played in their life.
What about the birth parent of the kid, the mom, I guess the side baby mama?
Well, I'm imagining in the description, the way my version of Tyshawn's version of her version is that the biological mother actually wanted him back.
Well, see,
so she likely wanted that child to be his.
Oh,
so she probably was relieved when he claimed the child,
even though
they were in relationship. Well, did she know? They never had a kid before, right? So if she didn't have any other children with him, she had no idea. Is this what our children would look like? Or is that what our children would look like? And I will tell you, the number of women who have convinced themselves, absolutely, you are the father. Look at the eyebrows, look at the cheeks. No, they probably look like somebody else in your family. Because when you want something to be the case, you will tell yourself a story that you will actually start to believe.
That's crazy.
And she wanted him back. So of course, come and put our family back together. And you already said this was your child. So if this is your child, let's go. Let's be a family again.
That's sad too. Because it sounds like she just picked out the best person that she liked out of the two.
No, she was cheating with the boyfriend, with the best friend. So they were probably having relationship problems.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Think about it. We're together. Okay. Let's just pretend y'all are really good friends. We're together and I sleep with him while we're together and then I get pregnant. Am I really going to be like, it's your best friend's man? Or it's your best friend's baby? No, I'm going to be like, we're having a baby. We're having a baby. Don't worry about him. We were just having problems. That was just fun. Don't worry about him. We're having a baby. And then you say, I'm going to handle my responsibility. Okay, right. Because it's your baby. And I want you back. And I want our family back. And then every time you with somebody else, you with the new wife who was just the friend, who was just comforting him, who was just talking with him throughout. No shade, but we probably all had some blurred boundaries around that time.
That's what it sounds like.
Even if it was just some emotional comfort. And then she was able to step in and finish comforting him and actually forge a relationship. If that's the chronological order. I don't know. And it's not a judgment. It's just a real conversation about how things happen.
Man.
Relationships are complicated, y'all.
It is.
It is. But these men, I'm very disappointed in these two men. I mean, because really, I think if
wait, what did he do?
Well, because you got the best friend. It's
yeah,
like
the best friend. I understand why you mad, but why are you mad at the man?
Because I feel like, I mean, if they would have been good friends and operating with integrity, then there wouldn't have been a chance of any of that really happening.
But he didn't do nothing. He was just with his woman.
Yeah, so you got but his best friend comes around.
The best friend.
And gets himself involved in that situation.
Wasn't really the best.
Exactly. Exactly.
Or maybe he
worst
was,
friend.
and that's why she was going.
And then and see, I do have I do hold the men more accountable in the situation too, because I do think that the average woman is just going to pick how she feels versus what's actually logical, what's actually fact based.
What makes you think that? That's an interesting core belief.
I mean, because she did. She's like, if I want this person to be
no,
the dad,
no. You didn't say her. You said the average woman. See, I'm listening to her. You said the average woman. Tell me what you believe that most women will do. You said that most women will pick how they feel.
Yes, and it's just in my experience, women, operate more on the emotional side than the logical side. So I think in times of distress, they're going to pick what's comfortable for them versus what might be right.
Okay, so let me say this. All men and women should be connected to their feelings. Men typically have had to disconnect from their feelings for a variety of different reasons. So you guys kind of stay in your thoughts, but really your feelings are the gatekeepers that drive everything that it is that you're doing. So it's not that women are necessarily operating from their feelings and that's problematic. It is that women have been conditioned and given permission to listen to their feelings. Now, we have not learned, though, men nor women have not learned what the purpose of feelings are and how to use those feelings to empower themselves. So we can get into some of that tonight with some of the questions if you want to. But I will also say this, is that what we have to get to a point of is, since you're talking about that logical point, let's just get to a point of transparency and responsibility. In every situation, information can be empowering. So why not in a situation? Listen, even with my own children, I have said to my husband every single time we've had a baby, would you like to have a DNA test? No. In all seriousness, right. Would you like to have a DNA test? Because the only person that knows 100% what's real is me. It will not hurt my feelings, but it will tell me that we may have some other problems if you feel like you need one. But I want you to know 100% certainty that this is your child and that nothing between us should be hidden. If every woman did that, and if every man was able to do that from a place of understanding the way the world works, we wouldn't have some of the problems like what you just read.
So let me actually
mandatory
tell you,
DNA test.
Speaking about that, here's what we're gonna do now. By the way, I want to open up the hotline. Okay, so I want to allow my people to go ahead and get in this video room here. So y'all can go ahead and get in here now so we can get prepped up as we transition.
And we got a couple super chats, by the way, too.
Yeah, so we're going to get these super chats going while you guys are getting prepped up on the video calls. And we're going to pretty much do our best to take both the chats as well as the video calls. So go ahead and get your calls prepped up. You're going to enter, once we drop that link, it's going to be pinned in the chat. Enter that link there, put your name in, and go ahead, set your camera up. I can see you guys before you come in the room. Obviously, I just need to have a decent camera, decent lighting. Look, you got she said you got your bonnet on and everything. I just need a camera.
Don't be laying in the bed though. Get out the bed.
Just have a light on, right? No black screens, y'all.
It's different hours all over the world. You're gonna have some folks pop up and they're gonna be in all different kind of situations.
I'm okay with that. We're not judging you. It's Free Advice Fridays. All right, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna take the super chat here first, Ron.
You want me to go ahead and drop the link now?
Yes, go ahead and drop the link. We are opening up the hotline now. All right.
I know when the hotline blink.
So let's go ahead and get it going, Ryan. We can go ahead and we got
I got
a few of them here now.
Shout out to Jessica Moore, shout out to Bernadette, shout out to Quinn, T. James, Elivani, and Couture Leotards, all new initiatives.
Yes, Levani's Free Advice Friday. See, we crossing over.
We got the family in
We got
here.
some people in the chat that say they with you every Friday.
They are.
We're
family. We roll deep.
That's incredible.
And
I love this.
So shout out to Mr. Mahogany. So Mr. Mahogany has been with us for quite some time. So we've heard a little bit of the ins and outs of Mr. Mahogany's relationship.
Yeah.
And we've been keeping up with it, obviously, through how we communicate through the super chats and so forth. But they just chimed in with a message, says, got married while both broken, but doing well. I recently been on a spiritual growth / purpose journey, partly because of the show. So shout out to Hardly Initiated. Shout out to the initiates. Now, the question for Dr. Spirit is, How do we stay connected when discomfort with accountability is an issue?
Okay, so our Free Advice Friday family, show them, hit them with the double claps. Therapy. Therapy. Okay, and seriously, and the reason for that, we give double claps because we want to make sure that it just sinks in. Therapy is important because anytime someone is on a growth journey and they are in relationship with someone else, that means up until this moment, we've been functioning like this. If I go on a growth journey like this and I leave you, all of a sudden, either you're going to stay here and I'm going to get so far away from you that we're going to be disconnected. Or if I start to get too far, you're going to want to pull me back and you're going to stunt my growth. So it's important that those two people are working on constantly growing together. So when we talk about discomfort and accountability being issues, those are problems in need of solutions. I tell every couple, you are not the problem and your partner is not the problem. The problems are the problem, and it's up to the two of you to work together on the same team to solve those problems. So the real question here is, what is it that is in the mix between the two of them that makes accountability a problem and that makes it uncomfortable for us to deal with? So we have to be very careful because we also can't lump everything inside of one mix. We have to deal with those things as separate issues, and we have to go slow. We have to be communicating constantly, and we have to figure out how to support each other on that journey. Okay. So the spiritual journey is not the problem. There's something else that's happening within this spiritual journey that's making it hard. And he mentions accountability. So who is he wanting to be accountable for what? And who is uncomfortable about taking ownership of particular things? And what is it about the dynamic that makes them uncomfortable? So if you can take these like puzzle pieces and unpack them in their smallest individual parts, you will get to the root of it. And that's where the healing is.
It's interesting. I love that example of, almost the diagram of how we grow and how one person can go off like this if you're not doing it with somebody else. And that's when people say we've grown apart.
Absolutely.
That's what that means.
That's absolutely it. And so you have to recognize that when you're growing, sometimes your picture changes. And what that means is we all have pictures in our head of what forever is supposed to look like. So as I'm growing, is the picture of forever changing? And what we have to do is we have to look at every member of a couple. And sometimes a couple is more than two. So it's every member of a couple. And I know that's going to make some folks mad, but that is the reality, that relationships look very different. You have to look at what your forever is, what your partner or partner's versions of forever is, and how closely those align and how closely those drift apart. If it's just a little bit, that's okay. But if your version of forever looks like this way over here, and my version looks like this way over here, we have to decide, can we build a container that is our relationship that can house both of our versions in a way that supports and fosters and allows those to thrive? Or are those versions so different because we've grown in such different directions that perhaps forever doesn't mean us as a couple forever together? That's real.
That's real. That's real. Mr. Mahogany, that was a good one there. I hope you got that one there, brother.
Now, do you got some people piling up in the room?
Oh, they are piling up in the room.
So let me take one more super
what
chat.
What does that mean, piling up in the room?
Well, they're joining. They're joining. The video, the video chat is popping.
Yeah.
The video chat is popping.
And give us a second, guys. Officially 800 people in the chat. So Dr. Spear, we about to light it up tonight.
Let's light it up.
But shout out to Selena Hill, who sent over a super chat as well. And Selena actually one of our initiates that won our matchmaker book. So Selena, let us know if you finally got that book, okay? Because it should be to you if it's not already. But Selena says she's had several long-term relationships, okay? Now she's single again at 38, and she's since learned the importance of vetting men.
Hallelujah.
Okay? Right. But the thing is, now that she's worried that she might be dismissing them a bit too soon. So her question is, how does she know when she should stick around or move on?
Well, I'd be curious about what vetting means. And sometimes when we learn a new thing, we tend to become like a zealot with it. Like think about anything that you first learn.
That way.
Come on, like you decide you're going to play tennis and then you go out and get the whole new outfit, you get the new racket, you go spend all the money on it, or you find a new religion and all of a sudden you go to the worship on Wednesday, you out there on Saturday, on Sunday, you preaching everybody, you don't even know where you are in the process. So what happens is when we learn a new thing, we tend to swing so far to the other side of the pendulum that sometimes we have to wait and slow down and recognize that where we should really be is right in the center. And so if she recognizes I started vetting people, and then what I was doing was cutting everybody off, my question is, what are you vetting? Are you vetting your compatibility? Are you vetting your chemistry? Are you interviewing them to figure out, does this person fit the type of dating that I want to be doing? Or what is your strategy here, sis? And so if you find that you are cutting everybody off, one of two things is true. Either you are doing it the wrong way, and there may be some emotional unavailability that says, I was in a relationship for a long time. All of a sudden, now here I am single again, and I really am not ready to be out there dating. Or you're in a situation where you're in the wrong pond. And this happens a lot, because if we're not clear about not only the partners that we want to be with, but where these kinds of people are located, then you're in the wrong pond, and everybody is not going to be a good match for you. Right. So say, for example, and this happens all the time. I start getting into dating work and counseling, and people will say, I don't know what kind of man I want. And it's like, okay, well, let's kind of visualize him. And I don't mean like the physical, right? So we're not going to be like, let's go. Well, let me not look at, no, I might, let's look around here, right? Let's look at, so she's like, yeah, he's this tall. I don't want to know about his physical stature, right? Yeah. Because chemistry is something totally different. What I want to know about is, what kind of man do you believe you would be compatible with? So if you say, well, I want a man who is a corporate man. Okay. So tell me about a corporate man. Does he wear a suit every day? Does he wear I don't know, scrubs every day? Like, what does corporate mean to you? And so then if they say, oh no, yeah, he wears scrubs. Yeah. Okay, so now we're getting into hospital. So is he like in administration? Is he a surgeon? What are we talking about? Oh yeah, Spirit, he's a surgeon. Okay, well, how many doctors do you know? I don't know any. Oh, okay. Well, how many conventions do you go to? Medical conventions? I don't go to medical conventions. Okay. Well, when the conventions come into town, like, do you hang out in the bars for the networking events and everything? No, Spirit. Well, then, sis, how you gonna meet a doctor? You don't know any doctors. You're not hanging out where doctors hang out. You're not doing. Do you think like what? We're gonna cross paths at the light, and he's gonna pull over and get your number?
Right.
Like, how do we get into the right pond? So if you find everybody that you're meeting, there's something wrong with them, I want you to stop and ask yourself, am I where I'm supposed to be in order to meet them? Where would your man? It's Friday night. It's Friday night, like going on 9 o'clock on the East Coast. Where would your man be on Friday night? Now, if he's on Free Advice Friday with us, then drop a little thing in the chat that says I'm single and ready to meet. Drop your IG, baby. Listen, ask him, how much therapy has he had? Okay, because I want to know. Healing is important, right? But we have to get, and I'm serious about that, but we have to get serious about meeting our ones. Oftentimes we just are spinning our wheels, and then we get exhausted by all the wrong men or all the wrong women. And then all of a sudden we give the one that's supposed to be ours our worst, when we really should have reserved our best.
Wow. So look, thank you so much.
No, I teach folks how to date. Now we could do that part.
Oh my! First of all, that's
we need to do a networking mixer in the spring.
We do need to do that.
Now I'm telling you, I will kill
that.
I'm
so
good
we're gonna
at
talk
that.
to you after the show.
Yes, we got something big we want to talk to you about. Actually,
okay.
We got some plans.
Yeah,
so
just
don't we on the same page? We are aligned. All right. So check it out.
We're
gonna go ahead and we're gonna start bringing this. We're gonna start bringing up the family real quick.
Okay.
All right. I'm just bringing y'all literally in the order that y'all came up here, so y'all better not be getting mad at me.
Almost 850 people in the chat.
Yes.
On Friday. This is the first
on a
episode
Friday
we've done on
night.
Friday.
Yes.
Yeah,
all right.
This is good.
So we're gonna go ahead and bring y'all up. I'm bringing my sister to the stage, Ashley. Ashley, welcome to Hardly Initiated. Don't be hitting me with that shot energy. What's good, Ashley?
Hi.
She might be single. She might be trying to be just like, hey.
Oh, wait, you look like you about to go out. Where you about to go, Ashley?
I'm on the couch for the night.
She said you told him to get cute.
She told her to get right.
Oh, I see it.
I
You know
had
what?
on my house dress, so I just threw on a cardigan over it to be appropriate.
Look, I was fine with you, sis, but that's okay. We don't know what your question is yet, so somebody might be like, okay, cardigan. Let's go.
Well, Ashley, look, listen, I'm excited. You are our first ever Free Advice Friday. We're gonna mix how we do things on her side and our side. When you are Hardly Initiated, if you can, please give me your age, your location, and then give Dr. Spirit your question.
Okay, I'm 31 years old and I'm in St. Louis, Missouri. And my question is, Dr. Spirit, what is some advice you can give a woman that's over the age of 30 as far as dating? Like I won't say I'm having issues with dating, but since I healed and done the work, like for the past 3 years, the healed version of me has not entered the dating world yet, and that's something I'm interested in doing going into the new year. So what is some tips or advice you can give me?
Okay, so first of all, at 30, I need you to recognize how young you are because so many women think at 30 they are all washed up. They didn't meet their person in high school, they didn't meet them in college. Now, somehow, that means at 30, they're not going to get a man. And let's be real, there have been a lot of toxic places and spaces where they have had that reinforced for them. I cannot tell you the number of platforms where I've heard people go, "You how old? Oh, no, you're done. Oh, how much do you weigh? No, you're done. Oh, how much? No, you're done." And so that could not be further from the truth. This is now your more mature self. This is your more healed self. This is you now ready to step out. And so, what I love to tell people is every relationship, I want you to get excited, whether it's your forever relationship or not. Because one of two things, now I'm telling you all this, okay, I'm giving you all the tips tonight. One of two things is going to be true. You're either going to enter into the worst relationship you're ever going to be in for the rest of your life, or this is going to be your forever relationship. And the reason for that is because you will never choose worse than what you already had. The next relationship is always going to be a relationship where you're going to say, "Oh no, I've already had well, and I've already had bad. So I'm not going back to that." So either you're going to have to do everything that they did or more, or I'm not going to talk to you. So I want you to get happy because I also want you to recognize you said that the healed version of yourself has not come into the dating world yet. This is your test. This is your test to see where you are because every relationship that you choose is also a reflection of where you are on your journey. So if you want to see how much healing you've had, let's go out there and not see what you attract, but see what you begin to choose. That is going to be the true test of where you are right now.
Look, thank you so much for coming up on here, Ashley. You listen, you might need to take this outfit and go out there and choose the night.
Yeah.
Listen, they in there.
It's just a
I'm sure there was somebody's in there like, "That's my favorite color. What is that? Burgundy?"
Actually, she dropped something in the chat, and I'm like, yo, I hit her back like, yo, go ahead and call in. She really needed that answer.
That's what's up, Ashley.
Yeah,
I appreciate you. Are you already? I think I see your name on here. You regularly in here, right?
I be in here, but I just got initiated today.
Oh,
I love
the way that
There's an
sounds.
initiation process up in here.
Yeah, you know.
Come on now.
What's the process? I want to know. I
Look,
need to be
listen,
initiated.
Yeah,
How
you
much?
definitely
What's
need to be
the-
initiated.
Right.
We'll
We'll talk to you after the
later.
show.
I don't know if I like how his eyebrow went up. He just scared me just then.
Yo,
Okay.
Ashley, listen, much love. Okay, I appreciate you.
And I thought about this, Tashawn.
Thank you. Bye.
We actually have people who send us emails to info@heartlinitiated.com. And sometimes people just send us their stories and kind of just issues they're having.
Yeah.
I realized I pulled some of those up. I got some of these too.
Come on.
Man,
you want to take another caller? Or you want to go back and forth? How you want to do it?
Yeah, let's take another one. Let's take another.
Cool.
Let's definitely take some callers in here for a second because they in here. They've been patient. They've been in here patient.
Oh, don't get cut.
Anissa, we got you coming to the stage here next. Anissa, what's popping with you?
Hi, can you guys hear me?
Yes, Anissa, what's good?
Come on.
Hi, I'm Anissa. I'm 25 years old. I'm in Delaware. My question is, how can I talk to my parents about the trauma that I have received growing up that I was raised with?
So let me ask you this, Anissa. If you have the conversation with them, what is the goal of the conversation? What do you want to make sure either happens, that they understand, or that you receive in having the conversation with them?
My goal is to get to know them on a deeper level and for them to realize and see that what I have seen them like in marriage with, how they have portrayed their marriage and how, they were raising us, has affected me. So that way, like we can just have a better bond, a better connection, for just the sorry, for just the future, because I'm older now and I realize that I have dad issues. And even when my father was still in the house, the overall goal is just for a healthy relationship with, boundaries and stuff like that, if in fact they triggered me.
Okay, so I want you to know that you actually stated 3 separate goals. Okay.
Okay.
One, no, but I want you to, and it's great. No, you asked it just right. So I heard I want to have a healthier relationship with them. I want them to know how their trauma affected me, and I want to get to know them better. So it's important that you are aware of that, because if you lump all of it together, you may not get everything that you want out of the conversation. So I like to begin with the end in mind. And now, if you want to try to roll all of those things together, then you can. But how you set that up is to be able to say, so mom and dad, I'm wondering if we might be able to have a conversation. I'd love to be able to have us see if we can't have a healthier relationship with each other by talking about some of the things that happened when I grew up, and to see if we can't just understand each other a little more. So if you give them that and say, when might be a good time that we can talk about that? And the reason why you tee it up that way is because you give them the opportunity to not have to guess, to not have to fill in the blanks. They get to prepare, so they don't just kind of snap and get triggered in the conversation if you just spring it on them. So you give them that and you ask them, when might be a good time for us to be able to sit down and talk about that? And then as you start to have the conversation, I want you to reiterate that so that they understand that the intention is good things. I'm not coming here to blame you. I'm not coming here to blast you. I'm not coming here to do anything else except for to try to bring us closer, to try to learn more about you, and to hope that you will be able to understand how us being a family has impacted me. And you do just a little bit at a time. This is not a conversation where all of this needs to come out overnight. It's just a little bit here, a little bit there. And if the goal is for us to begin to have a healthier relationship where we're getting to know each other, this is great, mom and dad. I'm glad we were able to have this conversation. When is the next time we can do this? Do you think we might be able to have conversations regularly with each other? Or how about we go out to lunch once a month? Or how about we get together and we cook? But also understand that the way that you see how you grew up is not necessarily going to be how your mom or your dad sees it. All 3 of you will have some very different opinions. And so you may also have to have some ground rules with each other, because each of you may hear things that offend you, that hurt your feelings, that frustrate you, that make you sad. And so we have to be able to make space to know that we can deal with the uncomfortable feelings as they come up too, if our goal is for healing and more closeness between us. And so as long as you guys are able to keep that centered, then you will be okay. And if you feel like you or one of them can't do it, think about therapy. Therapy. Okay.
Yes, because I am in therapy too.
Yes. So then maybe
Dope.
even consider inviting them into a session. Talk to your therapist about that. But
Okay.
definitely do that. And sometimes our families, our parents, our elders need us to take the lead, because this is something that's really new for them. And without us saying, let me invite you into that space, they may never get the healing that they need.
Wow. That's perspective right there. Sometimes they need us as the children to take the lead.
Man, yes. Listen, I know.
1000%.
Yes. First of all, you're right. When you said that a lot of us are somebody else going through it, gonna go through it, or been through it, you're right. Because I see actually myself in a lot of y'all situations, and I'm learning it's free advice for me, just like it is for y'all.
Yes.
So, Anissa, thank you so much for coming up on here asking that amazing question. Love seeing you in the chat. Make sure you stay active here with us, okay?
Will do. Thank you.
No problem.
Shout out to T. Woodley and shout out to Stacy. Stacy is back in the Initiate family. And shout out to It's Me Lavani. She says, "What's up, Dr. Spirit?"
Oh,
and Kindred
Lavani's a
Spirits.
man.
Okay,
I don't know
okay.
if Lavani is single though. I gotta like check in.
Oh, for real?
Lavani, yeah.
Is he an eligible bachelor? He said, so you don't know.
I don't know. We'll have to see.
Lavani
is
listen.
actively dating. Lavani, are you single?
Lavani, drop that IG profile
what are
for
we
the
looking
ladies,
for?
okay?
No, it's not for the ladies. It's not for the ladies. This is for the gentlemen.
Interesting. Interesting. Okay. That's a whole other episode.
So I'm actually gonna bring our next person up here, and then Ryan, we'll take your email next.
Yeah.
So we could try to hit everybody. Y'all, we got text, we got email, everybody getting advice tonight.
Isn't it great?
Shout out to Leslie.
It's amazing.
It's the best.
It's
amazing. I love this.
So look, all right. So we got D-Dub coming up here next. First of all, D-Dub look like she lounging. What's up, D-Dub? Hold on, D-Dub, you muted.
You on mute,
D-Dub? Hold on, wait, there you go. I got you.
Don't worry, sis. We're not gonna let him get you out of here. Come on now. He said,
can't unmute your guest. Their mic isn't connected. Just connect your mic, D-Dub.
Oh, she may have to come back.
How's that?
There we go.
There you go, D-Dub. What's up?
Hi.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you. I actually dropped this in the chat. I am in Detroit. I'm 51 years old. Yeah, I'm kind of hanging out on the couch tonight.
Ellen does. I love it.
My husband and I, we've been married 6 years, and we've been going, oh man, we've been through a lot. We've been through a lot in these 6 years. We have not really had a true, I guess you can say a honeymoon moment or whatever. It's just been ups and downs throughout the whole 6 years. But right now we're separated. I am in my own place and he's in his place, and we are dating, but we haven't had any intimate relations, no sex. It's been a few months now.
Is that the agreement?
No agreement. It's just like happening that way.
Like you're not initiating and he's not initiating?
Nope.
Okay, what's the purpose of this between the two of you?
That's what I'm trying to figure out, because now I'm at a point where I'm starting to question that. And
so you want to have sex with him?
I do.
So why did you try to initiate?
I think because he gives off a real confusing vibe, like he's tired, or he's had just a lot going on and like excuses.
Well,
I'll say that.
Have you guys come up with rules for your separation?
No.
Okay.
None.
So the reason why I ask this is one of the biggest things that I talk to couples about before they make the decision to separate. The two of you, and it's not too late, you can still do this, but the two of you need to figure out, now we've separated for a reason. Are we separating because we're trying to give space and then figure out what we need to do to see if we can rebuild this relationship? Or have we separated because we're test driving being without each other and we're starting to get used to that, so we're drifting apart? Because the no sex means we are increasing the lack of intimacy between us. We're not working to restore it. But oftentimes sex is just the litmus test for everything else that's happening in the relationship. So when you tell me you guys aren't having sex, I bet there's a lot of things that you guys aren't having that would increase intimacy. The types of conversations that you're having, the type of healing that you're having, the type of recreational activities that you're having, or all of these things not having. So what I would say is that it's time for the two of you to come back to the table to say, look, what are we doing? What is the framework? What is the goal for where we are trying to go? And if we don't know, then that's something that we need to work on building. How long have you guys been separated now?
This is going into the 2nd year.
Okay. Any therapy?
I've been going, individually, both of us.
Individual, but no couples therapy?
Not yet.
Have you guys shared with each other what your goal for individual therapy is?
Yes.
Okay.
Both of us are working on just healing from the things that we've been dealing with.
Okay. And are we healing towards each other or away from?
I think we're healing towards each other. I do see in him a little more openness because he was very closed off. And I realized what that was about. He has a lot of trauma from his childhood. And those things actually didn't come out until after we were married.
Oh, no, they were present the whole time. They didn't come out verbally.
Right. That's what I mean. Yeah.
And so the question that I would have for both of you now is if we're working on our honesty and we're working on our transparency and we're working on our healing, then part of this and this litmus test is how honest can we be with each other now about where we are and about where we want to go? And if you can't have a conversation with your husband that says, hey, listen, we're having less and less sex between us, and I'm curious how you feel about that and what that's about for you. And can I tell you openly and honestly how I feel about that and what that says to me? If the two of you can't have that kind of conversation with where you are on the journey, then perhaps that needs to be a goal, because that says what we can talk about and what we can't. But more than anything, this is about evaluation. You guys have been separated for almost 2 years now. If you don't have a clear goal for what direction are we going in, you're going to wake up and one or both of you are going to go, kind of don't feel it anymore.
And I'm starting to feel that way.
Boom, there we are. Right? When you go, I've been without it for so long and I want it. I just no longer really want it with you. You had your chance and now the window is passed. So if you're already starting to feel that, it's more important than ever to have some urgency to fight for this marriage if you're still motivated for it. And the fight is in the genuine conversation, that heart to heart, to see, are we going to lean back in and actively work to rebuild? Or are we going to be honest to recognize that we've come to a point where, as we talked about the growth, we've gone too far in opposite directions.
Man.
Okay.
Understood. Wow.
Thank you so much for coming up on here and asking that question. You better make sure you stay consistent with us in the community. As a matter of fact, as things progress, feel free to let us know at info@hardlyinitiated.com. And if somehow, some way, which I feel like it will happen, we somehow get Dr. Spirit back on here for another Free Advice Friday, we might be able to take your email and get a follow up on there.
Maybe
so
we can
make sure you keep us in touch. Okay.
Yes, I've been following Dr. Spirit. Like, she is the truth.
I love you.
Listen,
well, I could be convinced to come back, and you guys might want to call me because you got individual therapists but no couples. Call me.
Yeah.
See what we can do.
Yes.
Awesome. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Much love, D-Dub. So yes, we actually got, so just so we know, family, what's coming up in the queue, because I know we got a lot of people in here patiently waiting. We're gonna take this email real quick first.
Take a couple emails.
Okay, let's take it. Come on, we'll roll. Let's go fast.
Cool.
So we can get as many people as possible.
Shout out to Nzinga Gant and Leslie Smith, who also sending over love to keep helping us heal and grow. Yeah. And shout out to Pumpkin 38. And I think she kind of got some of that same concern that D-Dub has. She's pretty much like, she says, could you refer her to a therapist? But what she's really asking, she says, are you accepting new clients and how to go about that?
I'm only accepting new clients in my after hours because I am full in my pro bono. I am full in my sliding fee scale. I'm full in my insurance and I'm full in my daily cash pay. Ooh. But I believe in, I got a pretty good wait list, unfortunately. But I believe in still seeing as many people as possible, which is why we started our after hours clinic. Okay. So technically I will see people, and they know, y'all know, I will see people 24/7. So my after hours clinic is open anytime that I'm not in regular practice. I will see somebody before or after hours. So I have folks that I will literally see at 6 a.m, at 2 a.m.
Incredible.
Yeah.
You are
if you call, I'm going to answer.
Oh my!
No, I'm definitely not a machine. I'm a human being. I believe in getting and helping as many people as I can. And I cannot sleep at night sometimes knowing the situations that people are going through, which is why if I hear the story, I'm always like, please don't tell me the story. Because if you tell me the story, I'm going to help. So, it's
real life superhero like right here. Dr. Spirit, we're going to get you a cape.
Shout out to
I burned that cape a long time ago. I am not. I promise you, I'm just a woman. Just a woman.
So we got Lavani who sent over some more love in the super chat, but we got Shantae who sent us this email a couple weeks ago. Actually, she says She always watched the podcast and she's not really sure where to start. Okay. This is the email. Okay. She was adopted at birth. However, she is totally against adoption. So she's currently going through some things. And she actually wants to get more people to understand that adoption isn't the answer. Okay. So she's asking what's the right way to do this. But it sounds like, maybe I'm reading too much of this. I think I want to draw some assumptions on this.
Well, tell me what you hear.
It sounds like she's just not happy with her specific adoption. And she would have liked instead to have been somehow reconnected with her birth parents. So it sounds like somewhere in between she could have got, mixed up in this where she's just not satisfied with the current situation or how she grew up. I think this is a load of, because I've never heard that. I've never heard somebody who was adopted say they absolutely don't believe in adoption.
I've heard a lot of stories, Ryan, to be honest
really?
with you. Yes. Because the reality is not everybody's situation is a beautiful one. Not everybody's story is a beautiful one. Not the reasons why people choose to adopt or foster is always a beautiful story. And the experiences that some people have are absolutely traumatic, are absolutely horrific, right? And so one of the things I love to say is that everybody, the villain and the hero, typically have the same origin story. It's just what they choose to do with their pain. And so what I hear here is that she has had some experiences that tell her this is not the ideal experience, not just for herself, but for anybody. And she wants to ring the alarm. So what she has to decide, though, because there is not ever a situation where there is a purist thing where it's 100% all good or 100% all bad. That's usually not the way that it works either. So the question is, how would she like to use her story to be the hero? And what I see in this is an opportunity. She can use some of the things that she experienced to make the situation better. Because the reality is children will be adopted, and some children absolutely need a forever home that is not their biological home. So how could she use her experiences in order to talk about the potential pitfalls, in order to help as an advocate, whether that's through writing and narrative works, whether that's through legislation or advocacy, whether that's through forming organizations? How can she take what she learned, do her own healing work? Because that's so important. She hasn't healed her own trauma, right? So how does she do her own healing work and then try to work to heal and help others? What does she want to do with the experience that she had? Because that is her qualification now to do what comes next. Her lived experience can save and empower and help the lives of others if she chooses to become a hero and not a villain.
I think that's excellent counsel. Shout out to Shantae for sending over that question.
Yeah, it's not easy.
Yeah.
It's not easy.
And that didn't surprise you?
Not at all.
Wow.
I hear these stories all the time. I hear stories of foster children and how trafficking, when you look at the pipeline for families like this, for children like this, how easy it is for some individuals to completely violate children knowing that those are not your biological children or they don't protect them in the same way. So when you talk about childhood abuse, sexual abuse, neglect, all of these things, it often happens to children who come into forever homes like this.
Wow.
How can you use your story for the better? That's actually powerful.
Because everybody's story has the potential to empower and help somebody else. We are all living stories right now that can be the blueprint and the rule book for somebody else's success. If we're willing to heal out loud, if we're willing to love out loud, if we're willing to share out loud. And it's usually the chapters that we don't want read aloud that are the most impactful and powerful for other people.
Man, that's heavy right there. And y'all, listen, as you know, we still are going to be taking calls here. So you can join that link that we have here in the actual chat. So go ahead and click that if you want to join and be patient, y'all. Y'all got to be patient tonight because we're trying to get y'all as fast as we can. But we got T. James here coming to the stage. T. James. Yes,
what up,
coming
T.
here.
James?
T. James, I see a black screen. What's going on right here, T. James?
T. James is sitting in the dark.
You got some light? Can we get some light, T. James? Hold on, wait. Oh, we lost T. James.
He's frozen.
It's
T, call back
service.
up here.
They might be international.
Yes, I need everybody, because we getting a little light. come in here and we're gonna bring you up. Put your name in. Make sure you activate your mic and your camera. If I don't see your mic and your camera, I won't be able to bring you up. But go ahead, Ryan. What you got?
So we got some more relationship advice. I think they heard from me. So this is an email. So shout out to Ray. Ray she's from Miami, 30 years old, and a single mom of one son that's 9. She says, what's the best advice you can give someone that you really care about, but this person is not financially stable and is having a rough time and is really all over the place trying to navigate through his feelings with dealing with being misunderstood in life? So I think that's the question. So it says they're both in the same boat. So it's hard to enjoy the relationship, and they keep getting caught up in roadblocks from having just misunderstandings with each other.
Okay, so your feelings are going to be hurt, but I'm telling you that you are dating potential. You are not dating the person that is sitting in front of you. You are dating who you think he has the potential to become. And I want you to be very careful about that, because your version of him, likely he has no idea who that version is. This is your fantasy that you hope that he manifests into. So I don't want you to be disappointed later. I also don't want you to be getting into situations with him where you're arguing because you're trying to pull him into the version of him that you think he should be. So you're telling us already about what his issues are, but you're not telling us what it is about you that chose him and that is willing to sit in relationship with him, trying to hope that he repairs himself. Okay. So I want you to recognize also that you are dating somebody who, by your own acknowledgement, probably does not need to be in a relationship right now. He has past trauma, and his finances are reflective of his lack of healing, because what we do in one place in our lives, we tend to do in others. So you recognize he has some unresolved issues, and now he keeps continuing to find himself in a series of new problems, because that is the unresolved pattern. So his finances are going to be in disarray because the rest of his life is in disarray. So if you really want to know what I think he needs, it's the double claps. He needs that therapy. Real talk. And so if he spends just a little bit of his finances to get into some good therapy, or find some community-based services, some pro bono or sliding fee scale services that are going to allow him to do his work as he begins to transform, so will everything else in his life. But pay attention, because also so too will his relationship with you, either for the better or for the worse. And if he is healing, I want you to be aware that you all were drawn together as unhealed versions. If he continues to heal, but you stay the same, I want you to be aware that he's not the only one that may be in need of some healing. Okay.
And there you have it. Just in time, because my sister T. James actually just came back in here, and she has a very interesting question here. So T. James, I'm bringing you back. Get your camera fixed up. Get everything ready, because you are coming to the stage. T. James, you at the job. That's why we can't get you here. You over here. Come on. Hey, look, don't have us get you fired, because your boss probably watch Hall Initiated too.
No, we're good.
Come on, T. How you
What's
feeling?
up?
We're good.
How are you?
I'm good.
Okay, good.
So I'm in Denver. I'm 39.
Okay.
So I've had like a really rough year, like since January. Broke up with my youngest son's dad, 15, 20 years relationship. I kind of just been having like really bad year all year. Like had suicide ideation on my birthday. This summer I went to rehab, quit drinking, quit smoking cigarettes and all kind of stuff. So now I'm really getting my life together. I'm really like spiritually healing. I'm trying to figure out if I am going to, like, do I need to work on bringing my family back together, or do I really need to try and get out here and date? And how do I do that?
Well, T, I would say before you think about putting your family back together and before you think about dating, how about we do a little bit of TLC for ourselves? Because the reason is Here you are having a really bad year. You gave up the drugs, you gave up the alcohol, and I want you to recognize that the drugs and the alcohol were helping you to medicate the pain that you were experiencing. So if you turned around and when you got to your birthday were feeling suicidal, then we don't have the coping strategies, the alcohol and the drugs that we used to use to medicate us. There is a world of hurt that you are trying to navigate, and you don't have those old coping strategies to help you. So I don't want you to look to now let me start dating because that may be self-medicating. Now let me focus on my family because that may be self-medicating, when really what we need is to heal the wounds that you have. And as you start to feel better and get some of that stuff out, because it's not just this year, right? This is the year that this was the straw that broke the camel's back, because this is everything you've been carrying all the way up until this year. How about you just start taking care of yourself a little bit? And then as you begin to do that, you will figure out what you want to do as it relates to your family or as it relates to moving on and bringing a new person in to become a part of your family. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. That's what I have going on. That's what I'm doing. Like I'm in therapy. I'm doing a lot of work.
Mm-hmm. Well,
and I just feel lonely.
There we go. I was going to ask you, what's happening in your work and in your life that makes you feel now, let me add somebody in the relationship space. And so you just gave
I don't want to do that too. That's what I'm really struggling with. Like,
okay.
It's like my youngest son's father. It was pretty much like, I think it's like a real deal trauma bond. And like all of this work that I'm doing, it feels like something in me and my spirit feels like I need to try and bring my family back together. Like that's like something I feel like I need to do, like to not break up our family. But it's not even, I've never dated since I was like 22. I'm doing the work I need to do on me. That's not going to stop.
Yeah. So T, let me say this. If you're doing the work, understand that your family is always going to be your family. The father of your youngest son that you've been with all this time, he is always going to be a part of your life. And so if forever is supposed to be where you guys land, that is going to be where you guys land. But you said something else that's very important, which is I'm feeling lonely. So you have a need that needs to be satisfied, but it doesn't necessarily need to be satisfied in the romantic category in order for you to get some satisfaction and some fulfillment. I want you to know that community is very important. And so when we're feeling lonely in one of the worst years that we've had, I want to know, where is the rest of your family, your chosen family, your biological family? Where is your support system that is pouring into you, that's feeding you, that's helping you to laugh, that's helping you to love, that's helping you to feel alive? Because lonely means I'm having a lack of interactions that are fulfilling for me. Where are your fulfilling relationships in your life now?
I have my kids, I have friends. I'm always at work.
So there we go. So what?
When I get home,
Are
like my youngest, we're splitting like custody. And then I'd be like, I have adult children too.
But now
so I'm kind of like sick of them.
There we go. See, that's not fulfilling. That's more work. I'm at work all day, and I go home and I work with the kids, and my adult children are driving me crazy. What I'm talking to you about is who is pouring into you, not who is taking from you. And so if you're out of balance where I'm at work all the time, which I'm pouring, I'm dealing with my kids all the time where I'm pouring, I'm not seeing my friends, so I'm not getting filled. We've got to switch this thing around. And you've got to prioritize your wellness and recognize that when you have a lonely void in your life, you are dying on the vine. And when you are dying on the vine too long, then that manifests into now the physical and the psychological. I'm feeling suicidal, right? I am depleted to the point where I am beginning to feel hopeless. I want you to empower yourself to be able to turn this thing around by saying work can't be the priority, because if I'm not here, I'm not going to be able to work. Pouring into my grown children can't be the priority, because now they've got to take care of themselves. I've got to make sure that I cover my children that I'm responsible for. But if I'm lonely and suicidal, then they're not getting the best version of me either. So if this therapy is not helping you to get fulfilled, I need your therapist to help you understand what the plan is going to be to enhance your life, or to refer you to somebody else that knows how to do it, because you are at a dire situation now and you need to go up, because to go too much further down could be dangerous for you and your entire family. So we got to get poured into. We got to get poured into. Look at your EAP program. You've got some great stuff. Brown can do it. Go to your EAP, talk to them about social supports, talk to them about your programs. And if they don't know how to get you straight, you call my office. We're going to get you together. But don't you sit over.
I appreciate that.
Not 1 second longer. You hear me? And tell your therapist if we need to do a collaboration of care or a coordination of care to figure out what your treatment plan needs to be. If we need to consult about that, you tell your therapist to call me. We need to get some change happening quickly. Okay. Okay. Go back.
Thank you.
You to lose your
T,
job.
listen. We love you, T.
Absolutely.
Appreciate you, T.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
Man.
Shout out to T. Shout out to T.
And I want people to understand that these are real serious issues. And when you hear somebody talk about suicidal ideation or that they're feeling suicidal, I want you to understand that that does not mean that they don't want to be here anymore. It doesn't mean that they want to die. It means they want the pain to stop. So we have to help people with the pain. We have to triage that. We have to deal with that as the emergency that it is, but we have to recognize what pain it is behind it that's driving it. And loneliness can do it every single time. We are literally having a loneliness epidemic all around the world, to the point that the Surgeon General has recently just launched a global study on loneliness, because people are dying literally and figuratively all over the world from loneliness. It is killing us.
And we're so connected through social media, right? Quote unquote connected.
Yeah, those
through
air
social
quotations.
media, and you feel like we have this access, right, to so many people all around the world and so many things, yet it's not fulfilling us.
It makes us feel even more disconnected. It makes us feel even more unworthy. It makes us feel even more unlovable. It makes us feel even more judged and devalued. So many people aren't curating their social media in ways that would empower them. Unfortunately, it's just denigrating them and driving us apart.
That's why I like the way that you define loneliness. I think that's important. It really becomes clear exactly what that is.
Agreed. I'm actually going to bring our next person here to the stage.
Because we fill with emails and we got a couple super chats too.
Let's go.
I don't want to butcher your name. And I think you see it. Help me out, sister. How you pronounce your name?
So it's Jeremy. It's like Jeremy with a CH.
Jeremy.
Ooh, that's pretty.
Wow.
What's up, Jeremy?
Come on,
How you
Jeremy.
living?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm blessed, Jeremy. We glad to have you. If you can start off so we could get this thing rolling, give me your age, your location, and your question.
Yes, I'm 32. I'm in Richmond, Virginia. And my question is, I've experienced just a lot of different relational deficit with men in my family. So like father wound, all that stuff. And I feel like I've walked through a lot of that healing work. Me and my dad are good. I have no expectations of him really outside of who he is today. But I worry that, when I start dating, that some of the things that I missed may come up in just like the people that I choose. I'm worried that I just don't want it to be a situation where, like, because of what I missed, like I'm looking for that while I'm dating and not realizing that I'm trying to fill a deficit instead of actually knowing what I need or want. And so, yeah, that's kind of like my question. Like, how do I make sure that that doesn't come up?
So you know what, Jeremy, it's interesting because I'm actually worried for you on the other side of that. And what I mean by that is that you've worked through whatever it is that's happened with your dad, and the coping strategy that you've decided to come up with so you can stay in relationship is to have no expectation for him. So I'm just going to take you at face value. I have no expectation, i.e., you can no longer disappoint or hurt me. You just are who you are. And because you've learned how to do that in the most significant male relationship that you have had so far, the likelihood that you have the potential to do that with a partner is equally possible, which means that you may get with somebody, shut down, and just choose to become emotionally unavailable and just learn how to just stay in relationship. And so if you're not careful, you will be one of those women that will choose a partner, find yourself disappointed, and without even thinking about it, it becomes reflexive. We're just going to stay together. I learned how to do this already. So you can stay in relationship and have quantity, but not quality. Okay. So I just want you to be aware of that, but I'm going to answer the question that you asked because I don't want you to leave and go, that's not even what I was talking about. You just gave me something totally different. Okay. I just want you to understand both sides of that pendulum that we're talking about. Okay. The other part of this is that you have to recognize that as a grown woman, you no longer have the same needs that you had in childhood. And so you want the person that you are dating to show up dating you, your grown woman self. The only way that you can show up as your grown woman self and not have that young little girl who didn't have dad to give you what you needed is to make sure that you have healed those wounds and to recognize that your partner is not there to fulfill those things. Your partner is there to enhance the life that you are already having. Right. So you need to be in progress already, having your best life, feeling absolutely fulfilled, feeling totally secure, having built a life where there is no sense of rejection or abandonment. My life is set up the way I like it and the way I want it. So when somebody comes in, he sees you and he's like, man, you are just radiating all the goodness. I want some of that. And you are so healed and in your peace that you go, hold up. Slow down, Playboy. I'm glad that you like what you see. I know. I worked real hard for this, which is why we're going to go real slow to make sure that you are going to enhance my peace and not disrupt it.
Yeah, that's good.
Okay. And so the real issue here is if you've done your work around dad, and this is the thing that should tell you, if you've done your work around dad, you wouldn't be concerned about the issues that you knew to be there because they would no longer be there. So if you recognize I've had daddy issues, and as a result, daddy caused me to have fill in the blank. If that thing still gets triggered, it's not healed. And if you begin to date somebody who has that same feeling, listen, if they don't activate something totally different in you, I want you to understand they're not new, they're familiar. Okay. And so if you meet somebody and they don't activate your nervous system and give you pause, they're likely familiar. And so if we've already come out of toxicity and they don't activate your nervous system, I want you to think, maybe I need to run. Okay. Because they should be new and different. And your nervous system should have to be figuring out, wait, what is this? We don't know this. This is something new here. We haven't experienced this before. But if it's kind of like, oh, you feel like home, that ain't where we want to be.
Got it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Jeremy, thank you so much.
Jeremy.
For coming up on here. Excited to hear and see your development moving forward. I'm telling you this, like I tell everybody else, make sure y'all keep us up to date at info@harleyinitiated.com. If it's some changes, some updates, some questions that you have moving forward, please send it over to us. Okay, Jeremy?
Will do. Thank you guys.
Thank you.
And that trepidation that she has, that little bit of worry, that's because she knows that it's still there.
Right.
It's just right beneath the surface where she goes, please, I don't want to choose that. I don't want to choose that. So the only way that we don't choose that is by not having that be present. So whatever those wounds are, she's got to clean it out. She's got to heal it like we talked about last time, rehabilitate it. And then we don't have to worry about connecting or latching on to something that isn't there.
Man, that makes so much sense.
Yeah, listen, we putting Dr. Spirit to work tonight because we got
it's Free Advice Friday. That's what we do.
It's Free Advice Friday, baby.
So shout out to Naomi and Judith, and shout out to Kenrick. I'm gonna make sure I get to those super chats. I want to address one of these emails real quick, and really shout out to everybody who is calling in, sending us questions, being so vulnerable and open with us. because I know they're personally seeking some assistance.
Yes.
But just imagine how many people y'all are helping by sharing your story, because there's people out there that's not quite ready to come out with a story. You know, they still trying to figure some things out, still trying to get comfortable.
Yes.
But them coming out helps.
That's brave.
Or not realizing that they needed that answer, where they go, oh my gosh, their answer, I want to know that. I need to know that too.
Right.
Yes. So that's brave, y'all, coming up on here asking these questions, because you are not just asking this question for yourself. Somebody else is experiencing what you're talking about, because I'm already experiencing some of the things y'all talking about. So I know somebody else in the chat is.
Right. So I'm gonna take this email, then we're gonna get to some super chats. But shout out to Janice. She says her law enforcement husband went to jail for sex crimes, and multiple women are still coming forward. She says she's dealt with 3 high risk pregnancies, and now she has to take care of the kids, pretty much be the full-time caregiver for the kids. She just started working after being out of work for quite a bit of time, lost her good credit, and really she's trying to build herself up while they're still in the relationship and he's still cheating. Now, this is the thing, because I can give you it's a bunch of other things on the list that she's going through right now.
Well, what she's not talking about is the trauma and the abuse that she's experienced at his hand. And
that's what she's saying. She's saying, okay, he doesn't want to help her with the kids if she, 1, doesn't sleep with him, or 2, expresses any dissatisfaction around what she's experiencing or what the kids are experiencing. So what she's basically asking, if she has to, the situation is she can't afford to serve him with a divorce or child support, and it sounds like she's really just still financially connected to him.
He's still in jail though, right?
No. He's not in jail.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, he's not in jail. But pretty much she says she wants to keep a long story short. How does she deal with this if she's pretty much financially dependent on this person?
She's absolutely financially dependent on him, and he's probably not going to want, well, let me talk to her. He's probably not going to want you to get the help that you need either. And he's probably keeping you isolated. And I also want you to recognize that when you start trying to get well, and especially if you consider leaving this relationship, that will become the most dangerous time for you and your children. So you need to be a woman with a plan, and you need to be a woman that has absolute support. And I don't want you to feel alone, and I don't want you to feel like there is no place that you can go. But you have to take your time with this. It has taken you this long to get to this point. Now what we have to figure out is physical and emotional safety for you and the children in this space. And then how do we begin to connect you with a support system that will allow you to make some real clear decisions about what you need and want to do. The hard part in this also may be that you are struggling recognizing that you love someone who is extremely unhealthy and may likely not be able to love you or anybody else in return. He likely has some sociopathic tendencies. He likely has some narcissistic personality disorder stuff. And I'm really curious about what has happened where he has violated all of these women, and there is no legal things that are happening.
Right.
Or perhaps they are. And so what I would say to you is, I want you to recognize that while you may feel solely financially dependent upon him, there are places where you can go for financial support. There are places where you can go for support with housing. There are places where you can go for all different types of resources, including employment, including food, you name it, the help is there. So what I will say to you is, I'm going to get your contact information offline. I'll get it from you all.
Okay.
And I will email you. Or if you'd like to, let's make it a little safer. I want you to email me. Okay. You can just go to my inbox, Talk to Spirit. Okay. It's Talk 2 Spirit. When it is safe for you, we're going to talk about, I love to tell folks who are in domestic violence situations, we're going to talk about pizza. And let's just say that we had a conversation about pizza tonight and you want to be able to get the recipe. Okay. I want you to send me an email in my inbox to just say, hey, Spirit, you talked to me about a pizza recipe. Can you send me some more information on that? This is my email address. And this is the best time, or this is my phone number. This is the best way to be able to reach me. I'm going to reach out to you offline. I'm going to give you some private support groups that you will be able to contact. And these will be links that you can go to. You can drop out of them quickly with the touch of a button if you need to. But we're going to find out where you are. We're going to link you to some support. And this is going to be a slow process over time that allows you to stay in control and that allows you to make some real decisions about what you want your next moves to be. But I want you to recognize that you are supported and you don't have to stay in this not a moment longer than you need or want to.
And wait, that the email on pizza is just so she could be.
It's so that she can be protected. Because you
if
don't
he checks
know,
those
he
emails?
may be checking her emails.
Oh my gosh.
He may be in control of everything.
And he's an officer too, so you just don't know what he really got access to in terms of
And those kind of brothers are usually
or the support. She can't even call the police.
Right.
Those are his friends. Those are his colleagues. It's dangerous for her. So she has to be very careful about how she takes every single step.
You know, it's weird because those kind of brothers too that are on that level of like sick control, and it's weird. They usually are always on the offensive of like thinking like you cheating and want to read your text message and read your emails. And so I didn't even think that far ahead. So,
well, there's probably some extreme trauma. He may be former military. He may have some extreme history of background of child abuse or neglect. Like the history runs very deep. But at this point, it's not up to her to figure out what his situation is. He is violating women across the board. God only knows what he is doing to her and what he has the potential to do or has done to those children. So physical safety, emotional safety, and moving her to a place where she can get the help that she needs and that the children can get the help that they need becomes absolutely priority number one.
Yeah.
Very challenging set of circumstances, being that she's financial dependent on this person.
Well, that's part of what an abuser does.
Right.
An abuser looks to isolate you. They look to, remember when we talked about domestic violence before, and I told you it's not just the physical violence, it's the financial violence, right? I'm going to control all the money. I'm not going to allow you to work. I'm going to make sure that I know where every penny is going because I can't have you setting up to leave me.
Right.
I can't have you using this money in any way that I don't feel powerful and in control, and remind you who's in control here. It's the social control and isolation. It's the spiritual. It's all of it. It's all of it. And then he's out there violating women. She's had 3 high-risk pregnancies. There's a reason why she's high risk. It's all so layered.
Wow.
It's all so layered.
Interesting. Well, thank you for that, Dr. Spirit. Let's get to those super chats before we get back over here.
We got a few of them. Shout out to Pele for sending over a super chat, just showing some love. And shout out to Kenrick Lowe. Kenrick says, how do you combat complacency, familiarity, and comfortability?
Well, those are different things. And forgive me, my allergies are kicking in. Okay, so complacency is separate than what's, give me all three.
Familiarity
is
and comfortability.
Okay, so comfortability is different. Comfortability is like, I'm okay with being right where I am.
Gotcha.
Familiarity is I'm used to this. I know exactly what this is. And then the other one, this idea of complacency. Complacency is I'm at a crossroads where I don't really want to move. So the question is, when you look at all three of these things, what is driving them? And let's be real. Sometimes we're at a point right now, a lot of people think, oh my gosh, I'm so tired. I'm so exhausted. But they don't recognize that they're dealing with mental health issues. We didn't all just get here like all of a sudden I'm just overwhelmed. You've been overwhelmed based upon everything that you've been dealing with up until this moment. So the question really becomes, where are you trying to go? What is the thing that's stopping you? So in this situation, what I would love to say is, first and foremost, have you got that doctor's appointment? Did you go get the annual? Especially with men, let's talk about it.
Right.
Most men are not going to the doctor, and especially not going regularly every year. So the question is, how do you know, first and foremost, that there are not some underlying health conditions that need attention? I just had a client today that went to the doctor and said, oh my gosh, my iron is so low, I had no idea. My vitamin D was so low, I had no idea. I've been taking antidepressants all of this time when what I really needed to do was deal with some other things.
Wow.
for years taking antidepressants when really what she needed to address was several other issues. So I would say go ahead and let's make sure that there is not a medical issue there that's underlying. The other part of that is taking a look then at your mental health. Once you get that physical health care checkup and you know everything is okay, now what are we not addressing in our mental health that would cause us to feel complacent, that would cause us to be comfortable in the familiar, especially if the familiar is unhealthy. We've got to do the work, and we've got to recognize that when things are interconnected, if our life is not looking the way that we want it to look, all we have to do is figure out what is driving that. And if I can't figure out what's driving that, how do I get in front of someone who can? That is how we do this work. That's how we do it.
Makes sense. That makes perfect sense. I think we got a couple more super chats.
Yeah, can I take one more real quick?
Go ahead, take it.
We gotta keep it rolling. Shout out to Judith Sakala. Judith been rocking with us for a minute.
Oh, come on, Judith.
So and first off, Judith, we already know you. So Judith says basically, my question is for Dr. Spirit. Judith, we know that when Dr. Spirit is on the platform, nobody has questions for us. We already know.
Right.
She said,
is that what it is?
Right.
Right. Okay.
So Judith says, if is something wrong with me for resolving at all costs and avoiding to have any kids? All my siblings have 1 or 2 children and me 0. I don't feel guilty. Do I need therapy?
No, not necessarily,
Interesting.
because not everybody is maternal. Not everybody desires children, and that's not some rite of passage. That's not some requirement. So if you look and say, I'm happy being auntie, I'm happy I'll pour into you, or if the real deal is, I don't really even want to be auntie, come holler at me when you're grown. That simply means that for you, childbearing and being a mother may not necessarily be the thing. But now, Judith, let me say, I'm looking right at you. If you recognize that there has been some things that you have experienced in your life that you are either dealing with or not dealing with, that you know may be connected to your not wanting to have children, then what I would say is not to deal with the idea that I don't want to have children, because that's the symptom. That's not the root. And oftentimes when people ask questions, it's because you already know the answer. You're looking for me to confirm for you what it is that you already know. So my question to you, it is.
That is true. We see that.
I tell my clients all the time, you are the expert in your own life. I am the expert of the tools. You are the expert of your life. My job is to hold the mirror up for you, to look at yourself, and to make sure that you see all of the pieces clearly, because sometimes we can't see ourselves. And so it is to help you see yourself more clearly, the version that you are, the version that you've been, and the version that you want to be. And how do we bring all 3 of those things into alignment? So Judith, if the real deal is everybody else wants you to have children, but you are okay and you don't feel guilty, good for you. But if you don't feel guilty because you know that there's something that you're trying to protect yourself or these children from by not bringing them into existence, how about we do the work on that?
Great answer.
You know what I'm saying?
The version that you are, the version that you've been, and the version that you're going to be.
That you want to be.
That you want to be.
That you want to be.
Get
That's
those in
different.
alignment.
Yes, that's different.
That is.
Because if you don't do the work, the version that you will become is not necessarily who you wish or who you had the potential to be.
It's just who you ended up being.
As your debilitated, unhealed version of yourself.
That makes sense.
Wow.
That makes sense.
What you want to do? You want to take a call or you want to get super chats going?
We got how many more we got left over there?
About 3 or 4 of them.
Oh no, we got to take a call.
Let's take a call.
Hey, look, me and Ryan
no,
battling.
no.
Hey, look, Ryan is for his super chat people, but I'm gonna defend my people that's been in here waiting to get this call.
Let's take one real quick.
So I'm gonna go ahead and take one, just one real quick, and I'm gonna go right back to you. I'm actually gonna bring Janeth here to the stage. Janeth, what is up? Welcome to Hardly Initiated. You got to get off mute. Hold on. Okay, I think I unmuted you. Let me see. Can we unmute you?
Did you unmute?
There you go. You're unmuted. What's up, Janeth?
Hi, how are you?
Hey.
What's up? Welcome to the show.
That was fast. I didn't expect to get on. I was writing my question right now.
Oh no, you're
Oh, she was
good.
Come on, let's
preparing.
go.
That's what's up.
I like that.
Well, I'm so happy I get the opportunity to talk to Dr. Spirit and ask my question. So I'll try to ask as quick as possible. I got married at 20. I was married for 14 years.
Wow.
Through 14 years, I endured a lot of emotional abuse, a lot of abandonment, separate separations. He'll leave, I'll wait. He'll come back, we'll get back together. Finally, in 2021, we lost a baby. We went our separate ways, and finally, I filed for divorce. So my divorce was finalized in March 2022. So I've been single throughout this time, right? And for the first time, I feel very happy, single and at peace with my daughter. And part of me, I feel like I'm 35. I should start maybe getting back out there, meeting people, because I want more children. I do want to get married again. I want to have a real family marriage, what I've always wanted. But at the same time, I feel so happy where I am right now, alone with my daughter, that I don't know how to handle that. Like, I feel like, should I position myself, because I'm getting older, to meet people? Or should I just take my time, continuing to take my time? I feel like I've put in a lot of work trying to heal, and I listen to you guys' podcast. It's helped a lot. So I guess I'm just trying to figure that out. Like, being 35, am I trying to? I'm thinking maybe I'm trying to protect myself. Maybe I just don't want to let go of this piece because it's just been so much. Or should I start putting myself out there?
I love this because part of it is, listen, I've been in chaos so long. Now that I'm having some peace, I'm afraid to invite somebody else in because I'm enjoying this, right? Where you're like, whoa, wait a minute. I don't want anybody disrupting this. This is great. But you say I'm 35 and I want to have more children. So I'm concerned. I don't know what I should do. So I don't know if you've considered the idea of, first and foremost, meeting with a fertility expert to sit and look at what your options are. You can go and talk to a fertility expert. They can take a look at your eggs, the age of your eggs, see if you're a candidate for freezing eggs. You can think about things like having children later on. You can think about things like surrogacy. There are options related to fertility now more than ever. Okay. So don't let that be the thing that makes you rush. Because if you get into my biological clock is ticking, you also are going to choose a partner that may not be reflective of your forever mate. Okay, so let's not like convolute all these things. The other part is, if you're just now starting to enjoy what peace feels like, how about we get into some great therapy, right? In order to continue to support the journey, support the healing work, support the insights, so you can figure out what is it that you're getting right now that you weren't getting in your marriage? What is it that you want more of? How do you experience that more within the context of a forever relationship, if that's where you want to go? And also, if you recognize that a forever relationship is made to be forever, then we don't have to rush into I do or rush down the aisle right now. How about we invite somebody that's going to be an enhancement to the joy, an enhancement to the peace, an enhancement to the love, an enhancement to all of this that you've been waiting for, so that you don't look at it as going into a relationship is going to be a sacrifice, but it's going to be exactly what you thought you were getting the first time. Yes. But before you move into that, how about we also make sure we've healed all of the things that we've experienced in that relationship, because that was all of your 20s. Now here we are in our 30s. How do we make sure that we don't choose another person who is just like your husband? He just has a different name and a different face, but he gives you the same experience.
Right. So how do you know? For instance, if you ask me, I feel like I have healed. I feel like I've put in a lot of work to heal. I rededicated my life to Christ. I feel like I am, like, spiritually, I feel wonderful. I feel connected again, to God. And now it's like, okay, if I meet someone, I need someone who aligns with that, with my values, with my morals, with what I believe. I actually went on a date not too long ago, and he seemed like a great guy, right? I mean, he seemed like he had it all together. I mean, he was tall, hazel eyes, great income, like great conversationalist, everything. And the moment he told me, I don't go to church, I don't believe in Christ, but his profile said Christian, I was like, oh yeah, that's not going to work for me. I wouldn't have thought that last year. Last year would have been like, I don't care. Like, you got all I need.
Yes.
But this time it's like, I know what this is going to bring because I've been there before.
Uh-huh.
I don't want part of it. But I feel like I'm healed enough to know exactly what I want and what I want to allow.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not. I don't feel like I'm meeting those kind of guys yet.
Uh-huh.
But at the same time, I feel like maybe I'm not really positioning myself to meet those kind of guys.
Well, let me say this. In the healing space, it's possible that you have done some healing in the spiritual space. And so you have grown spiritually. And because you can feel that healing, you go, I've done enough of the work. But anybody who tells me I've done some of the work, but I haven't done it in other places, I just want to remind you, girl, you can have Jesus and a therapist. Okay? Jesus had counsel and Jesus wept about all the things that Jesus has dealt with. So I don't want you to feel like because you did your spiritual growth, the only thing that you're looking for this person to have to come to the table with is meeting you in the place of spiritual growth. You actually cut him off once he said, I had Christian on my profile. So you chose him because of your spiritual growth, but none of the other growth pieces. You let him go because he said, I'm not who I said I was spiritually. So we're only talking about one area. True enough, it is critical that you have somebody that meets you with that spiritual intimacy because it's important to you. Right. Don't forget that recreational intimacy. Don't forget the emotional intimacy. Don't forget the intellectual intimacy. Don't forget the sexual intimacy, right? I always talk about rises, the RISES. Some relationships rise, some relationships fall. You want one that rises. And just in one area is not enough. When they talk about being equally yoked, that is across the board. So do not stop it just because he says hallelujah. There is a lot of folks in the church that need a whole lot more healing. Y'all laughing. I got pastors with first ladies with women who are pregnant on the other pews right now in my practice. So don't be fooled just because somebody said, listen, what they say about the wolf in sheep's clothing.
Yes.
Okay. So let's understand that the spiritual growth is absolutely important if that's important for you, but that's just one part. And don't confuse healing in one place as I am completely healed.
Yo, Janet, thank you so much for these questions that you have brought up here. Amazing perspective. I'm proud of your development and your healing so far, but keep this thing going. Okay.
Thank you.
I love it.
I want to throw in the super chat in the mix.
Let's
Shout out
do
to
it.
Naomi, Bernadette, and Pele. I'm going to get to all of these questions, and I'm going to start with Naomi first. Naomi says, this is for Dr. Spirit. She says, I'm trying to change how I react to my husband. I have hubby PTSD. I avoid my husband. I am in therapy. I'm doing the work. My daughter, however, asked me to threaten to leave her father to get him into therapy. Should I take her advice?
So here's the really interesting thing. So you're in therapy, but you have hubby PTSD, which means that I'm trying to figure out how to react differently to somebody who refuses to get healthy too. The daughter recognizes that he's so unhealthy. She's saying, Mommy, please threaten to leave him in order to motivate him to do his work.
Wow.
Right? There is no amount of work that you can do to help somebody else's work. So if he is not willing to do his work, what do you do with the idea? Because if you're in therapy trying to figure out how to do his work, then really what you're doing is, how do I just tiptoe around him? How do I just not cause him to explode? And what we call that in therapy is maladaptive coping strategies. You're in therapy trying to deal with somebody that refuses to go to therapy. There's no help that's going to happen in that situation there ultimately, because there's a point where he is going to have to do his part. So the real question here is, if you can't get him to go to therapy, but you're trying to figure out how to deal with him differently, what is your end goal here? And I also want you to recognize that the two of you are playing out this marital relationship in such a way that it's now traumatizing your child, to the point where your child is saying, please, we have to get him to do something different. But you are also teaching your child then that by going to therapy to deal with him differently, you are teaching your child that there is something that you can do to change somebody else's behavior. So you are passing down the intergenerational trauma pattern to your child. And your child is going to believe, just stay with somebody who behaves badly and just simply learn how to navigate around them, how to walk on eggshells. And so then she may likely go on to choose somebody with poor behavior too. The real question is, what is the goal for this family? And either your partner is committed to having a healthy relationship or he is not. And that is the real problem in need of a solution. Everything else is just the leaves on the tree. What do you do when somebody else is like, nah, I know. And I'm not even saying my relationship is bad. No, you fix you. You go do that. You go to therapy. I don't need to change. What do you do when you have somebody who is unwilling to change? And oftentimes we spend all of our resources, our time, our money, our tears, our prayers, our arguments, our friendships, our support group. We spend all of that trying to help us cope to stay in a situation with somebody who refuses to change because we don't want to be empowered with the ability to change our situation. So we just keep begging them, pleading them, fighting them, praying with them, praying for them. Please change so I don't have to have hard choices and make change here.
Wow.
It's tough. It is tough because we want to be in relationship with the people that we love. But the reality is that's not always the healthiest thing for us. And it's not always the healthiest thing for the children that we are responsible for.
I mean, when the child is coming out and offering their counsel, I mean, things are a little bit out of control.
And when the child is saying, please, mommy, manipulate daddy, where did the child learn that? Because isn't the child is saying, mommy, please tell him you're going to leave him so he'll go to therapy. So the child believes that mom has the power through manipulation to motivate dad to change his behavior. There's some real conversations that need to be had all the way around.
She misses no detail.
What do you mean?
You miss no detail in the story.
You can't miss any detail. Everything matters. Every piece of information matters.
Man, that was really great feedback. And great question, by the way. Also, really great question. And keep the great questions coming, guys. Y'all are doing an amazing job.
These are people's real lives.
I'm gonna keep it going.
Life. I got one more. I'm gonna get one more call in right after the super chat.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Shout out to Pele, and then Bernadette, I got you right after. In terms of imposter syndrome, and this is from Pele, where you feel that you don't deserve praises. So in terms of imposter syndrome, where you feel that you don't deserve praises, promotion, or accolades, what could be a childhood trigger for this?
Well, the interesting thing is maybe they didn't receive this when they were growing up, but imposter syndrome is really an interesting dynamic. I talk to my colleagues about this a lot because how I see this tends to be a little different, right? Imposter syndrome basically says I'm suffering from this idea that I don't feel like I belong where I am. I feel like I'm going to be found out, that everybody is going to know that I'm somehow masquerading as a particular thing. But I think especially in communities of color, that imposter syndrome is by design because we have been systemically and systematically locked out of places and spaces. We have been conditioned to believe that we are not enough and that we don't belong in places and spaces. And then also when we look at what the racial makeup or the gender makeup of most places and spaces are, we don't see ourselves reflected in those places. So we walk in there, don't see anybody like us, and then go, oh my gosh. And everybody's looking at you like, well, how did you get in here? Well, tell me about where you came from. And they start to fetishize you. Well, tell me, what do you do? Well, where did you go to school? Well, where are your credentials? Well, and they challenge you at every stretch, at every point, at every turn. Every I has to be dotted. Every T has to be crossed. You've been told you have to be twice as good as everybody else to even have half a shot. So everything in you is conditioned from such a young age to tell you that you may not belong somewhere, that there's no amount of work that you can do, and that every step of the way, you are going to constantly have to be proving to everybody, including yourself, that you have the right to be there. And so all of that pressure can create a dynamic for people that simply says, I really don't know if I can cut it. I really don't know if I have what it takes. Everybody is questioning me. Everybody's making me feel like no matter what degree I got, no matter where I went to school, no matter how long I've been doing this work, everybody's making me feel that. So maybe something must be wrong with me to think that I can. And so if somebody like Pele has been in a place and space that, especially in their childhood, they weren't rewarded with praise. They weren't asked about their strengths. They weren't celebrated for those strengths. And also, listen, oftentimes we have people in our families that will give us mixed messages, right? People don't say, tell me what you love about yourself. Like growing up, did you hear, what do you love about yourself?
No.
What do you like about yourself? Most people don't even know they're supposed to like themselves. Most people can rattle off 20 things that's wrong with them and struggle to name 5 that are right. And so we have all these situations that you'll start to love yourself. You'll start to like yourself, and people will say, hold on, don't go get in the big head. Stay humble. You ain't got to be doing all that. Go sit down somewhere. Somebody, they don't need to be, look, you just want to be the center of attention. So we don't learn how to celebrate ourselves. We don't learn how to be confident in ourselves. We don't really learn what we're capable of. We don't get celebrated for how we are and who we are and what we're capable of. If we dream big, we're told we're dreaming too big. We're told you can't do that. That's not for you. That's for somebody else. So what I would say to Pele is to stop. And when you're thinking about childhood, clearly there's something that happened or didn't happen in your childhood that makes you think that's how far back it goes. What is the experience that you had that made you learn to either tell a story to yourself or regurgitate a story that you were told that makes you feel less than enough? And then you have to do the work to narrate a new story. That's what it's about. How do you heal that so that you know that you are enough? And no matter how you came into the room, you all may have entered through a different door, but you are just as worthy as everybody else because there you are.
Boom. Very unique take on imposter syndrome. I hear a lot of people, and it's almost recent, like it's almost a new word that I've heard almost like the past 5 years, I would say. But I'm hearing a lot more people claim and own that. And that's a very different way to look at where that might have come from.
Oh, yeah. Because when you realize you were made to feel inadequate, you were told from the beginning that you weren't supposed to be in these rooms. You weren't supposed to be in these spaces. Then it's no wonder when you get into the room, you go, I don't know if I'm supposed to be here. Because you've been hearing it your whole life.
Hey, look, Marla, I want to bring you up to the stage next. I want to make sure you are available and you are ready to go. So yes, Marla is active and Marla is ready. Welcome. Okay, to Hardly Initiated here.
Marla, what's good?
And Free Advice Fridays with Dr. Spirit. What's up, Marla?
Hi. Can y'all hear me okay?
Yeah.
We sure can.
Okay, so I recently lost my 17-year-old daughter to suicide a year ago. I'm still dealing with the trauma of that. I found her. I was in the home when it happened. It was late at night, so we lost her eventually, and the pain obviously is going to always be there. I'm very aware of that. I have another daughter who's 5, and so I'm still trying to parent her, and that's my daughter's picture right there that I have in my living room. But I'm trying to, and then also to add this, after losing my daughter, there's a huge void in my life, and even with the holidays coming, the loneliness is extremely setting in to a higher level, where it's like I'm asking God, why am I here to just continuously go through this cycle of pain? I was in a relationship towards the end of the summer with what I found out was a narcissist. I had never encountered a narcissist before, but after watching y'all shows and getting all the information of a narcissist, that was exactly who I was with. I moved in with him prematurely, something that I would never do, something that I've never done. Moved in with him, got rid of all my things that I had in my home. He basically said, I'm gonna give you the life that you've always wanted, and so you can create this legacy for your daughter. I bought the bait, and as time went on, I started to quickly see it was counterfeit. It was not what I expected, and so me and my daughter moved out, and I moved back into my own place. And so it just feels like I'm on this constant cycle of disappointment, and just I am in counseling, by the way. my oldest daughter's dad and my youngest daughter's dad, they didn't help with my daughter's funeral expenses. I helped with all of that. So since I still have to co-parent with my youngest daughter's dad, there's still a lot of anger that I have towards him because he was in my oldest daughter's life since she was 3. So it's basically, how do I navigate through life with this anger that I have towards so many people, my people that I have to co-parent with, the little boy that actually contributed to my daughter making the decision to end her life, her father that didn't show up in her life, so many things just circulate. And I'm like, how do I deal with all this anger and move through life in a healthy way?
Well, let me say this. Part of this is that you have to know that it has only been a year. And so I know it feels like it was just yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
And you can't lump all of these things together, all of these people together, all of these situations together. And you don't have to go through the rest of your life feeling anger. You have to work through the anger that you feel for these people to get to the root of the why you are angry. You just talked about some of the reasons why you're angry, right? Lack of support, lack of financial support, lack of emotional support. They've done things that have hurt you, that have abandoned you, that have left you to have to pick up the pieces alone. And then I hear on top of that, I'm feeling lonely. And so what I want to know is, where is your support group right now? Where are the people that you can count on who are loving up on you and pouring into you and supporting you and letting you fall apart, letting you feel the anger, letting you feel the sadness, letting you feel the joy, letting you feel the hope? Who are your people right now?
Currently, and who has consistently been my support is my dad. My mom, unfortunately, she's just not in a space to where she's able to do that.
Okay.
We lost my sister at 17 as well. It wasn't to suicide, but it was to just health reasons. And so my parents know what child loss, tragic child loss, unexpected child loss looks like.
So this may be
Obviously,
triggering for them as well.
yes,
Mhm.
yes. And for my mom, though, it's so triggering to where she's not able to help me cope in a healthy way. It's a lot of,
Mhm.
why didn't you do this? You should have recognized that she was in crisis and all these things, like blame, where my dad more so helps me unpack it in a healthy way of like, this pain isn't going to always be as sharp. And as years go on, it will get lighter.
Mhm.
So I would still go back to saying my dad has definitely been the constant, but my dad has his own life. And so he can't always be there for me. So when I'm like, right now, my daughter's asleep and I'm sitting here, it's like, who do I have? It's
Is your
just
dad
me.
the only person that you would say is part of your support group?
Um, Primarily, yeah. I mean, all
Okay.
my friends right
Okay.
now are married and in relationships, and so they have their own lives and they're busy.
Okay, so they can't be part of the support group that you need now. So first and
Hmm.
foremost, what I want to suggest to you is to consider finding a support group for survivors of suicide, because they will understand this in a different way. I see you saying,
Hmm.
yeah, tell me, have you already started to look?
I started as soon as my daughter's funeral was done. They're on a break though right now, so I actually just look like, where's the group, and they're on a break. So
Okay.
as soon as they come back, I'm gonna join back in.
Okay. And what I would suggest to you is reach out to that organization. If it looks like one you want to be a part of, send an email to them, because somebody is likely checking that website. Let them know that you recently lost your child and you're just in need of some support. So, might they have some resources either within group, because you would be surprised. Somebody may be willing to pick up the phone and say, I know the group isn't starting yet, but let me start to talk to you. Let me tell you some other groups that are available. Let us put a circle around you. What you need is support. You need people who can show up for you like you need them to. And if you're recognizing right now, I'm in a space where, oh my gosh, I am dealing with one of the worst tragedies imaginable. And I look up and I recognize that I don't have anybody. Then as you go forward, enhancing your support group needs to become a part of your life.
Mhm.
That is going to not only save your life, but that is going to change the trajectory of your life. So that loneliness, that helplessness, that hopelessness that you're feeling, all of that will begin to be healed. And you will see that people can thrive even as we lose the people that we love, even to something as devastating as an illness like suicide. And if you
Mhm.
need some linkage, reach out to us. I got you.
Okay.
Okay, I got you. And just know that you are loved. And the other thing that I want to say is, I want you to focus on how you want to experience this holiday. And I
Mhm.
want you to be very intentional about what you want to feel and what you don't want to feel. And I want you to lean into what will help me feel all the things that I want to feel. So if you want to feel joy this holiday, if you want to feel comfort, if you want to feel close to your daughter, whatever are the feelings that you want to feel, I want you to think about what can I do in order to feel those things during this season, and then give that to yourself. And the
Okay.
things that you don't want to feel, how do you protect yourself and shield yourself from that by leaning into what you do want to feel in order to make this holiday season bearable for you to get through now?
Okay.
We got to be intentional and know that it will get better, and know that you are loved, and know that you are not alone. And those dark thoughts that you are having, to ask yourself the questions about why am I repeating this cycle? It's for you to give yourself the opportunity to heal, because you have to live even though your daughter chose not to. And we
Mhm.
have to figure out how to help you live now and to live well.
Man, Marla, listen, just know, like Dr. Spirit said, you are loved. And at any point in time, if it just gets a little too heavy, always have us. Again, info@harleyinitiated.com. And you also have Dr. Spirit
Mhm.
and her team as well.
Absolutely.
So listen, you are not alone in this. So please make sure you leverage your resources.
Mhm.
This is why we're here. So
Absolutely.
happy holidays to you and the fam. We love you, okay?
Thank you so much, guys.
Thanks,
Nah, no
Marla.
problem. No
Mhm.
problem. And
Bye.
listen, I got one more video call I'm gonna take for the night, and I want to end like this
Oh, is
because
that
you
all?
know,
Okay, we good.
Look,
Okay.
You know-
it's up to y'all, you know.
Y'all did good. Okay.
and listen,
It's Friday night.
and here's the thing: if Dr. Spirit says
Look
if
how
she
he puts it on me.
if
Watch
Dr.
this.
Spirit wants to switch it up, but I really want to do this one here because I love when I see my brothers
It's about time. Where's the bruh? Come
pop
on,
up
bruh.
in here.
Right.
Come on, bruh. Let's
And I
come
see,
into the
I
room.
see a brother that's in the room here.
Yeah.
Shout out to
Yes.
Inspire Me Too for sending over the super chat, and then we got Bernadette. We'll take Bernadette super chat after that.
Yes. So
I was wondering where the men were. Come
man,
on.
Will, welcome to the stage, man. What's up, my brother?
Oh, hello, man. Hello. How's it going? How's it going?
Yes.
Taking the call.
Look, see, you wasn't even ready, man. You got to get ready,
Wait, no,
Will.
no,
Working.
my
He's
man
got the
John Legend, he got the
keyboard
keys
there.
out right
Come on
there.
now. I want to see
Yeah,
what
pop-
he's
pop-
doing.
You about to make some intro music for the show or what?
He said, no, move that over. He coming on. Come on.
What's up with you, brother?
Yeah, thank you again. Quick question. I recently been in a separation with my wife for about over. It's going to be about 2 years, or it's already is over 2 years. But we've been separated. It's been a little hectic for the past 8 years between me and her. But my question is, I've been trying real, diligently to like try to fix the relationship and try to get back together and stuff. But it looks like she's just in a position where she doesn't want to, get back together. And she's told me countless times.
Hey, Will, hold on. I'm having a hard time hearing you. Can you fix the mic and make sure that we can hear you well? But go back. You saying just go back like 5 seconds.
Yeah, can you hear me now?
There you go.
much
Great.
So you said that you have been trying diligently to try to fix the relationship, but you think that she's at a point now where she doesn't want to make it work?
Right. She's I think she's checked out. in a quick story short, yeah, I married her about 10 years ago. This February is going to be 10 years. She's I met her online dating, and she's from Brazil. I think when I decided to marry her, it was a kind of a situation where her visa is expired. She was an au pair, and I thought she was really a special woman, and there has been a lot of more downs and ups during the past 10 years, and she's it's been difficult, but just recently, this 2021, we separated, and just I try to fix the relationship. I did. We both did mistakes. She's shown sign of disrespect, and a lot of bumping heads, and I messed up in a way in the relationship.
Wait, what does that mean? I messed up in a way.
Like, for example, like during our relationship, there's been a lot of red flags on her part where I felt like something was a little sketchy. She's shown a lot of signs of disrespect, and like just things that people wouldn't take normally.
Well, let me ask you, when you say she showed up a little sketchy, I mean, are we talking green card Casanova kind of? Yeah, I heard you say her visa was expired. There's some things that are sketchy. I met her online.
Yeah.
And the head is saying like, there's things here that I just don't want to have to deal with. Even when you say I showed up kinda, like, are we real about the issues so that we can determine whether or not there are some solutions that bring you guys back together in a healthy way?
Yeah, no, great observation. I think also to hop on that very same note, we got married at a young age. She was like 21, I was 28. And we were just we were at different points of our lives when we were young. Again, yes, the whole visa situation did come up, and decided to take a leap of faith and ask for her hand in marriage, and I did. I mean, but during that relationship, for the past 8 years before she decided to move out, and then she did the whole separation thing. It was really difficult. There was a lot of, like I said, more downs and ups, and uh, again, a lot of bumping heads, a lot of disrespect, a lot of red flags, and on both parts. I think I would say that I've shown some sort of unconditional love, and you know, from my part.
Why?
Say it again.
Why? Why are we hell bent on this relationship?
Say it one more time.
Why are we hell bent on this relationship? That no matter what, no matter everything I've been seeing, I've shown unconditional love, which means I'm going to be all in no matter what, even though I think even now she probably doesn't want to. And we've had more downs than ups. Why am I so committed to making this thing work?
I think this, call me old fashioned, but I think the whole, marriage sort of promise, through better or worse, is something that I just I'm taking to heart. And
are you with a woman who agrees?
Well, that's kind of the sketchy part. We're both spiritual and religious individuals, and we come from that background. And apparently, this, we it just doesn't click. She wants to go her separate way, and she's said that she's expressed to me that she wants to see some other people, and so it's like, it's kind of like it definitely damaged me emotionally, because I like, again, I told you, I'm called me old fashioned, but I've held that sort of marriage promise. But I'm calling in now. Question is that, is that something that it's kind of like superficial, or is it like, is it realistic to, like, when somebody does who just wants to part ways, it's even if you're married, it's okay to just like let go and move forward?
Well, the hard part is you don't have a choice in whether or not you move forward,
Right.
because it sounds like she's making the decision that she's going to move forward. The question is, are you going to let go, or are you going to allow her to drag you?
Yeah.
Right.
I think
And it
that
sounds like you're trying to do the right and admirable thing
right.
with the wrong person.
Makes sense. Makes
Right.
sense.
And so, how do we allow you to get to a place where you recognize, I want a forever person? I am an unconditional lover. Once I lean in, I am going to stay in. And also, I want you to recognize I'm willing to stay no matter what, even when it's unhealthy, even when it's killing me, and even when there's more bad than good. So, how do we do the work that allows you to find a healthy version of you first, so then you can choose a healthy version of someone else?
Yeah. Yeah. I think I'm at that point where I'm trying to reinvent myself. It's been 10 years. Come this February, I've again, like I said, it's she's. I almost feel like she's definitely moved forward. We don't communicate at all. Somebody who I've known for a whole decade can completely become a different person after a
So
certain
here's
period.
the painful part. She's not a different person. You just refuse to see her as who she was.
Mhm.
And the reality is, I want to invite you into not reinventing yourself, but to consider meeting yourself.
Mm.
Because if you look at who you are, then you can actually fall in love with yourself, to see your own worth, to see your own value, to see your own strengths, to see your own places where you've been wounded and the healing needs to occur, in order for you not to choose someone else that you will latch on to and stay with them no matter how they treat you. You will not see who they are really, but simply tell yourself a story about who you need or want them to be. And they will continue to abuse you over and over and over. And you will know it, and you will allow it, because you believe in unconditional love.
Yeah, I think that was the stupid part about me. That
It's not stupid. It's not stupid. And if you can suspend the judgment long enough to get to the root of why it is, the answer may surprise you. A plus B always equals C. And if it doesn't, then we are working with the wrong variable. So it's not stupid. It was what you learned how to do at 28, but
Mhm.
really you had been doing that your whole life. So the question is, where did you learn this value system? Where did you learn this belief system? And how did you then reenact it with her as an adult?
I mean that can spiral down to a whole different conversation in regards to like watching my mom and my dad, because they're not no longer together. But I think that stems from that sort of perspective.
Oh, yes. Oh, I know. And I invite you to have that conversation, because until you do, and until you recognize how that is impacting how you're showing up now, you will continue to find people that are going to break your heart, and you will allow it because you
Right,
don't know yet how to do anything else.
right, right. Um, okay, yeah, I think that's very helpful. And thank you. I appreciate your advice.
My absolute pleasure.
No, Will, listen, thank you so much for coming up here too, as a brother, man.
He not the only one.
I know
There's
it's
a lot of
hard.
men.
Yeah, because I see brothers in here agreeing with you, brother, and have been in that situation.
Yeah,
And listen, bro, like it's hard for us to open up in particular. So I appreciate you actually doing that. And this is really just the beginning. I mean, that advice with being able to like actually meeting yourself
Yeah. But
is
this goes
so
back, Tyshawn, this goes back to Ryan's original point around feelings. Because men are not given permission to stay connected to their feelings, they disconnect and operate from logic and belief systems they are taught and that become impressed upon them. And so then you just go thoughts, behavior, but your feelings are the things that drive you. Your
Mhm.
feelings are the motivations that lead you. Your feelings are the things that communicate to you what you need in order to be okay. So when you've heard some of the women tonight talk about loneliness, talk about fear, talk about sadness, talk about abandonment, those are the needs that drive the way we think and the way that we behave. The sooner that men are able to give themselves permission to feel and get past the conditioning that tells you that you're not supposed to and it's somehow unmanly, the sooner that you become human again, or maybe for some of you for the first time, your whole life is going to change, and so are the lives of all the women that you touch.
Yo, Will, thank you so much for coming up on here, brother. Please stay tapped in with us. You actually need to make sure you join the community because we want to see you up in. I want to see you up in the chat here with us. Okay, Will?
Don't let him date anybody though, because these women are going to want somebody that has unconditional love.
Oh,
Will is going to want to give unconditional love, and that is going to be a trauma bond that is a no.
It don't work like that.
You hear what I'm saying, Will? You hear what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, I learned my lesson on this one. I don't think moving into the next relationship, when I get to that point, I'll be doing that, and I'll just be, I have to say this. I didn't vet her. I didn't vet her properly. I think that was one of my biggest mistakes. I went into this thing naive, thinking that we were in that honeymoon stage, sort of butterflies situation, and
I would be willing to bet that you did vet her, but the checkbox that you used, she's beautiful, she's young, she's probably a virgin.
She treated me right.
To it. She did. The vetting system was faulty because the childhood experience that told you what you should be looking at was faulty too. And that's why I'm saying until you're able to do the work to dismantle it, to see you, to hear you, to pay attention to you, to love up on you, I'm telling you, you will swing all the way to the opposite end of the pendulum and you will become the mean, evil, disconnected, emotionally unavailable guy thinking that you're doing it different this time. When really you need to have that healing so you can be connected to yourself, so you can have a partner that reflects back to you all the unconditional love you desire and you deserve and you want to give. But until you are healthy enough, everything that you choose is going to give you an experience that you don't want.
Right. What's that healing for? In a quick answer, what's that healing look like?
That looks like psychoanalysis, a little bit of therapy.
Yeah.
Therapy. That is getting on somebody's chair to unpack who you've been, to understand how it's affecting who you are, so it doesn't poison who you want to be.
Yeah. All right.
You got to take some time to do some journaling and some reading and some meditation. You're going to have to get in the gym.
No, I want him in therapy.
Nope. That too.
No, because I'm going to tell you, this is what brothers do. Y'all, this is what y'all do. Y'all go say, I'm going to heal myself. I'm going to go exercise it out, which it's therapeutic, but it's not therapy.
Yeah.
I'm going to go write. Like I'm going to be able to reflect on my own writings and see my patterns and I'm going to figure me out. Nope. That's narrative writing. Go to therapy. Okay. Don't go talk to your boys. Don't get a podcast, although I love y'all podcasts, okay? Do not try to get and circumvent the process by doing a bunch of therapeutic things that are going to give you just enough relief that you're going to trick yourself into believing that you're healed until you keep meeting the same woman and you blame her and think that it's all women when it's really that woman is a reflection of where you are and that is still unhealed. Damn. Get into some therapy, period. Full stop.
No ways around it, brother.
No ways. Yeah. Can't get over it, can't get under it, can't go around it. You got to go through it. When you're going through hell, the key is not to stop. Go through. Keep going. Get to the other side. You can do it, Will.
Thank you, Will.
Thank you. Appreciate all your advice. Real helping out a lot.
My pleasure. I love you.
Much love.
We giving folks well. I just can't let them just get like halfway. We're not putting a Band-Aid on a bullet wound. We're not doing it.
Nah, I like it.
Go to therapy.
I like it. That's really good feedback because what Ryan said is actually right, because if he asked us for feedback, that's the first thing we would have told him to do.
Because that's what men do. Y'all go, come on, you're going to be all right. Come on, go pump it out. Come on, go listen to some music. Go get up under somebody else. You know what you need? Come on over here. We're going to love up on you. But how can a whole bunch of unhealthy people make you well? You cannot get well in the same places that made you sick. Y'all trauma bond with each other. Y'all can't talk about nothing but cars and sports and women and sex and money and getting this and doing this because you will not go deep. because the pain is too deep and you are already disconnected from yourselves. You are already disconnected from your feelings. And the minute that you meet a man that is healed enough to start talking about feelings, y'all think he's somehow soft. He's less than a man. He's a punk. He needs to get out of here. And you want to bring him back up to the toxic, superficial stuff. That's what happens. So no. Go to therapy.
I do think in some cases that's the truth, but I do think that those other things are equally important. I mean, the therapy is important, but I think, it isn't also important that you understand the dynamics between men and women. Like he talked about the disrespect.
Yes.
You understand? And shout out to, we're actually going to do a tribute show to Tariq Nasheed because he came up with the 7 levels of disrespect. And I think it's important for men to kind of understand how that works, because the only reason you would be receptive of something like that over and over again is because if you are really sacrificing your self-love for the feelings that you have for somebody else.
Well, listen, most people do not understand the way that feelings work.
Right.
And what I say is I don't argue with two people, the unhealed and the uneducated. I will argue philosophically and professionally with my colleagues all day, every day. But if somebody is not in the trenches doing this work, we are not having the same conversation. So you cannot give me your anecdotal evidence or your opined opinion, no matter how impassioned, if it is not rooted in this work. I can respect it, but I can tell you that at the root of it, you don't know what the hell you are talking about, respectfully. Real talk. Because all the other stuff is just connected to what's at the root. And I get why people can stay on the shore, but not everybody can go to the bottom of the ocean. And that's what therapy is.
The bottom of the ocean.
The bottom of the ocean.
Depths.
It's the depths of your soul. Everything else is just therapeutic. It's relieving all of the things that you are feeling. But if you can't be connected to it, if you can't name it, if you can't identify it, you can't take care of it, and you darn sure can't heal it. And you can't use it to empower you as you move forward. That's why the therapy is so important. Everything else is just pontification. It's like everything else is behavior modification. I'm going to talk to you about disrespect, but what is at the heart of disrespect? What is at the heart of why the disrespect triggers you in certain behaviors? What emotions are connected to the disrespect? What history is connected to the disrespect? What wounds is connected to the disrespect? And nobody is going to be able to help you with that isn't properly trained.
Yeah.
Full stop.
Understood.
Full stop.
Understood. We got some super chats over there for the people, right?
So I'm checking out some of these emails coming in, these anonymous emails. We got some super chats coming in.
Come on.
Let's talk to Bernadette. She says, can Dr. Spirit talk a bit about trauma bonding?
We kind of was just there, wasn't
You
we?
said just a bit. Well, that was an example.
Okay.
Right. And we've heard trauma bonding throughout
We
a
could
lot
do a
of these
whole
stories.
show on trauma bonding, really, if we really wanted to, but just try to give it to her.
So the easy thing is, okay, so let's say this is one person. This is who they are. This is another person. This is who they are. When they come together, your relationship, I always say there are 3 parts. There's you, there's your partner, and then there's the relationship that the two of you create. In this space, if we both have trauma, then what happens is my trauma attracts me to yours because it fills a need or a void for us. And in our adult relationships, we love to say that you are doing one of 2 things. You are in a relationship that is either healing your childhood trauma or is allowing you to reenact it or replay it now as an adult. Because as an adult, I have the ability to do things that I didn't have the ability to do as a kid. So now as an adult, I got money. I could talk back. I could leave. I can speak up for myself. I can defend myself. I can do all the things as an adult that I was not able to do as a child. And so what I will likely do without even realizing it is I will choose a partner who is familiar to me. You heard me talk about that earlier. Choosing somebody who is familiar to me, not realizing that what they are is somebody who shares my trauma or who triggers my trauma in a way that brings it to the surface for me to now have to do something with it. And if they are just as unhealthy as me, now we're going to be in a trauma bond where I am going to be bouncing my trauma off of them. They're going to be bouncing their trauma off of me. And we are now locked in this toxic, unhealthy thing. But also because we love each other, we stay connected. And so we just go back and forth, playing out that trauma between each other over and over.
Can that ever become, so typically if you start your relationship like that, is no way that relationship will typically ever become healthy, or is that possible?
It can, if the two people are willing to do the work.
Okay.
If I recognize, listen, we got to do better. How you trigger me, what you're causing me to feel, I don't like this. I want to go get help. I want you to go get help. I want us to go get help together. In varying forms, if somebody is willing to get better, then automatically things in that situation are going to change. And either I'm going to motivate you to have to get better, I'm going to require you to have to get better, or I'm going to say you don't have to do anything because I can take care of me, and I'm going to leave this relationship for better. And better doesn't mean better than you. It means better for me. I'm going to leave you for the healthy, recognizing that healthy is not attracted to unhealthy. So because I love you, I may stay with you long enough to see if you are willing to get healthy. And then once both of us get healthy, if we do, now we still have to reassess our relationship to see, I was connected and attracted to the unhealthy parts of you. Now we have to assess, are our healthy healed versions or our healthy healing versions still compatible with each other? Does your healthy forever look and complement my healthy forever? Or again, has this relationship run its course? Were you just brought into my life to trigger me into my healing? So in essence, were you my best gift, but you weren't made to be my life mate, but perhaps you will always be a soulmate?
Understood.
Right? Not every relationship is supposed to be forever. Some of them are just supposed to come and bless you into your healing. Real talk.
So don't be trying to take these little raggedy
don't be
relationships to marriage.
No. Listen, you take raggedy to marriage. Okay. So then you committed to that. You signed your name on the dotted line for a little raggedy, but then don't get mad when it stays raggedy, and don't expect it to get better. You can't turn I don't want to hurt or offend nobody's ride, but you can't turn a little something into a $250,000 vehicle. It was that when you started. Just because you saw the potential doesn't mean that potential was going to manifest.
So how would, and this what I want to know, because I feel like most people, especially the ladies, I don't know, I'm talking about the ladies.
Oh, you're going to talk about the ladies? Okay.
Because a lot of ladies, in my experience, if the relationship don't end in marriage, they think it was just all in vain.
They think they wasted time.
They think they waste. That's actually the phrase that they use. You wasted my time, blase, 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 blah.
I love to tell people there's no wasted time, only wasted lessons.
Okay. But here's the thing. How do we know? Should you enter a relationship? Should every relationship you get into with a man, or with a man with a woman,
or a man with a man, or a woman with a woman, because let's be real,
whatever relationship you get into, intimate relationships,
there we go.
Should it be, this needs to be, we need to have long-term goals in this relationship, or is it okay for you to have a short-term plan in an intimate relationship?
Absolutely. There are different types of dating. Not everybody is dating till forever, which is why I tell people, when you're in the dating pool, the very first thing you need to do is make sure and be clear about whether or not the people you are choosing are trying to do the same kind of dating as you. There is a difference in I'm looking for my life mate. And even if you're looking for your life mate, that don't necessarily mean you're looking to be married. There's a lot of people that just want to cohabitate forever. But there are a lot of people who are just recreationally dating. I just want to date to have fun. I don't want no accountability. I'm not trying. Let's keep it light. If you want to get up and I want to get up and we have a good time with each other and that works, then let's do it. But I'm not looking for anything serious. And then there are people who are dating for companionship. Listen, I need a little cuddle buddy. It's wintertime is coming. Let's or I want somebody to travel with, or I want somebody to go to my dinner parties with, or I want somebody that I can take around my boys or around my family, right? What kind of dating are you doing? And we don't ask, we just assume. Or people who want lifetime commitments. I was just having this conversation with somebody I was doing some dating therapy with today. She wants a lifetime commitment, trying to date somebody who's open to the possibility. No, sis, we ain't trying to convince nobody. when we're at a point when we know for sure this is what we want, why do you want somebody who's open to it? Like, if it happens, I'm not looking for it, I'm not intentional about it, but if it happens, i.e., if you can convince me, or if I feel something special in the process, then I may be convinced. We ain't doing that. You want somebody who is on the same path as you, who is compatible with what the end goal is for you. And listen, and it works both ways. Don't date somebody and you just looking for recreation, and she's like, okay, I can be okay with that. And then you start sleeping with her and you know she's catching feelings. You know she wants to be somebody's wife. You know she's over there giving you the wife experience and you're not even the boyfriend. Don't date somebody like that and then be like, yo, this chick is crazy. Yo, you knew what it was when we first got together. We have to have integrity. You laugh and you know these people.
Oh yeah, it happens.
These are the people that are in relationships.
Happens every day.
These
it
are the
happens
ones,
every day.
And it's on both sides. It's not just all men do one thing. No, these women do that too. Girl, I'm just out here trying to get the bag. This man, look, watch it. You want to see something funny? Let me hit him. Hey, boo. You want to see me? Well, why don't you? You need to hit me on my Cash App. Well, don't you want me to look pretty for you? All right, go on and drop me a little something. Then he dropped her $1,500, and what does she do? She called the dude she really trying to go smash and go be with and be like, yo, let me take you out to dinner, boo. On me. He said, oh no, this is real life. I'm trying to so we have to, and it's not even unfortunately, it's real. You get what you are signing up for. You get what you are choosing. You are getting what your trauma and your lack of healing is creating in your life. So we have to be empowered. We have to be intentional, and we cannot look for people or expect or beg or plead or pray for other people to take care of us. As grown-ups, we have everything we need to give ourselves the experiences that we want if we are willing to be intentional and work hard for it. You got to choose your pain, because life is hard and painful either way. Choose your pain. Do you want the pain of working towards everything you dream of, or the pain of sitting in everything that you don't? That is your choice either way.
And there you have it. Question and answer. Let's get to that next super chat.
So shout out to Tasha T for joining the initiates, and shout out to Mr. Mahogany for showing some more love tonight, sending over a super chat. He says, how do men identify trauma when it's tied up in masculinity before leading household?
Oh, okay. I love that. Well, there it is, boo.
Okay.
And what I mean by that is, one, you already recognize that it was tied up in your masculinity before you left the household. So sitting in some great therapy, you're getting the double claps, okay? To unpack the stories that you learned in childhood about what it means to be a man. And some of those stories were told directly to you and passed down orally, but most of what you learned about being a man was what you watched from the men in your life, either through their presence or their absence, or a combination of the two. So as you start to think about all the stories that you saw, either with the friends, either with your family members, either with your boys, either in the television shows or the music, you have crafted a narrative, whether you realize it or not, about what it means to be a man. And when you can identify those things and you can measure that against what resonates with you as a man, how does it feel when you step into that narrative? What part of it feels disingenuous? What part of it feels like it doesn't embrace you fully? What part of it feels toxic and unhealthy? What part of it feels like something is missing that would allow you to show up more fully? And if you don't know, therapy will help you figure all that out. But it is very real, because the story that we require of you as men, the story that we tell you about you as men, the story of the expectations we have. Listen, y'all have been reduced to 2 parts. Y'all know what the 2 parts are for y'all?
I feel like I know one.
What is it?
It's
not between your legs. It's not the D. It's not the D. Because real talk, this is the thing that makes men mad. You want to talk about toxic masculinity?
What's that?
Ask a woman about what's in her top drawer, and all of a sudden y'all go, you can't have that, because you don't even want anything competing with the D. Now, partly it's because you do think that your masculinity is tied up in that, but you've been reduced to 2 P's: protect and provide. That's the only thing we want from you. That's the only thing you good for. As long as you protect and provide, we don't care about nothing else. We don't care about how you feel. We don't care about what makes you happy, what makes you sad, what makes you afraid, what makes you feel vulnerable. We don't care about that. Hit them bills. Make sure don't nobody kill me and these kids. Everything else is icing on a cake. And the real deal is you need to give yourself permission to kick to the curb what the world is talking about so you can step back into you in the way that God assigned you as the original being on this planet so that we can be your helpmates. We are here to help you, to support you, to assist you, to lift you up, to affirm you, to love you, to give you comfort, to give you guidance, to help you, to pour into you. But if you are disconnected from yourself, how can we help you? Because help means you are the leader. We are supposed to step into that with you. But how do you do that when you've been given all of these narratives that distract you from yourself? You can't even hear yourself. You're so disconnected from yourself and then be mad at everybody else because also all you've been taught is aggression is manly. Oh, don't get me started. My heart just breaks for y'all.
We got enough. Honestly, we got
hurts.
limitless correspondence right now. We got Sunshine and we got Sunshine Beauty. Both of them sending for super chat. So shout out to Sunshine. She says, Dr. Spirit, what are some tools I can use to help me let go of the hurt when loved ones don't show up for me? I hold grudges, but want to learn discernment and extending grace.
Well, it's not about extending grace. Let's have some grace for yourself because you have some expectations and some unmet needs. And so the real deal is, how do you begin to see your family members for who they are instead of who you wish that they would be? And when you get into the reality of this is who they are, this is where they will go, this is where they won't go, you will stop expecting things from people that you know they cannot or will not provide. And so you got to let your heart break. You got to be sad about it. You got to ask yourself the questions. If this person won't show up for me like that, then who's going to be that person? Right? Like if my mom can't come through for me in the maternal way, not that she thinks I need, but that I know that I need, then who is going to be my maternal relationship now? If my sister can't love up on me the way that I fantasize and need a sister to show up, then how do I develop a chosen family so that I can have a sisterhood in order to take care of me? We have to recognize that these people that we come into relationship with by DNA was not our choosing, nor was it theirs. So to have expectation that they are going to meet needs that you have simply because you guys share DNA is unrealistic. So how do we step into the reality so that we can be empowered by it instead of disabled by it? And we sit in it telling ourselves a story and waiting for people to give us something that they never learned how to give. It is not easy, but it is necessary. And it is so freeing for you and for them and for your family. When you start to see people for who they are, not for who you wish they would be, oh my gosh, then you can invest in the places that are going to fill you up.
In the places that are going to fill you up. That even sound nice. In the places that fill
feels
you
even
up.
better, I promise. To be fulfilled feels so damn good. To be happy, to feel joy, to feel safe, to feel secure, to not have to question when your partner leaves, where are they? Who are they seeing? Do I need to go through their stuff? To wonder, does he love me? Does my mother love me? Are we really in relationship? Are they really telling me the truth about, like, to not have to worry about things? To not have to worry. Most people don't even know what that feels like in their body, to not have to worry.
Couture Leotard said, this woman in my whole brain tonight. Listen, right. I know a lot of people feel that way. Do me a favor too, by the way, because y'all know we in here giving this to y'all all night long tonight. So if y'all can, go ahead, hit that like button for us. Just tell me that you like it. Show me that you like what we doing by just pressing that gray thumbs up on your phone, laptop, television, however you watching this joint, because we got 594 likes
Over
and I think we
1,000 people in
deserve
the chat pretty much the whole night.
I mean, over yes,
I
over
thought we were
1,000
going to go to
people.
a sexual place for a second though, because see,
I did
Free
say
Advice
that,
Friday
right?
after it was how he said it. He said, "Just tell me that you like it," and then all of a sudden I was like, "Oh, I should have brought the other bag." That's a whole nother. We can do that show.
And then I said we was giving it to him all night long.
don't
It
know
was,
if they
it was
really
getting
talking
kind of
about
crazy.
Well, you know, I do sex therapy too. Like, but
First
that's
of all,
another conversation.
what don't you do, Dr. Spirit?
I've been doing this for a long time, so
Wow.
I sometimes ask myself that too. I do have some limits. I do have some work that I don't do.
Okay.
But what I do, oh, understand, I do it.
That's why you back here for the second time and not the last time.
Oh, okay.
Right.
Not the last
So we
time.
gonna keep you coming up on here, but we gonna be present because tonight ain't done. We got a couple more super chats. I went ahead and for now I retired, but let's keep pushing it right now. At least, look, let's do it. Let's do a pulse check on Dr. Spirit at about 11. All right, let's keep pushing
what's a
it.
pulse check? Y'all gotta school me. Okay, a pulse check.
Yeah, that's about in the next 8 minutes. It's 10:52. We've been running for about
y'all, whatever is
2
the
hours and
positive,
change.
pulse me.
So
we got check me right.
We got an anonymous question.
Anonymous?
An anonymous question.
Let's see what we got.
For Dr. Spirit. How do I know if I have a father wound or daddy issues? My dad was in the household, but there was no relationship. He was an alcoholic, and there was physical and emotional abuse in the home. He passed now, and I've forgiven him for everything that happened. So the question again is, how do I know if I have father wounds or daddy issues?
Okay, because a therapist is going to tell you, you do. Okay, I just told you, you do. Even if you've forgiven him, and that is wonderful that you have made that choice, if that's wonderful for you. I want you to go back, though, and take a look at the last time that I was on Hardly Initiated, around the conversation that we had around trauma and forgiveness. And if you've decided to forgive him, that's great. But I want you to recognize that healing is a completely different function. So if you haven't given yourself what you need to heal, then you still have the trauma of the experiences of having a dad who was physically present but emotionally absent, a dad who had substance use issues, which means that he was in so much trauma that he had to self-medicate, even as a parent, even as a husband. And then this idea that now you have lost him, so there's some bereavement or some grief issues, and all of the other things that came along with being his child. Until you do the work to heal that, forgiveness is only one part of that. But it doesn't change how all of that experience is showing up in your life now and will continue to show up in your life as you go forward. So you already know that you have these wounds. You already know that it affects you. You already experienced the triggers over and over and over again. The question is, how are you going to make space not just to love him and give him grace, but to love yourself and give yourself enough grace to finally have the healing that you deserve, recognizing that unfortunately he couldn't give it to you as a child, but you can now give it to yourself as an adult. And that will also make you the chain breaker, because that intergenerational trauma is so real. How do you let it die with him and not take it into the afterlife with you? Okay. You got to go do the work.
And you got to watch that last episode that Dr. Spirit was on. That was incredible.
We gave some really good gems on that one.
Yeah, I think that was a timeless episode on forgiveness.
I hope so.
I think you can go listen to that anytime.
Listen, I hope so. That is always my goal, is to always be giving information. There is always something here that you can take away and that you can come back to and hear something else that you didn't hear the first time, or hear it differently, even if you did. That's the goal.
Absolutely. I'm going to throw another one at you real quick.
Come on.
This is from Sunshine and Beauty. She says, I have put walls up and been a runner in relationships prior. Okay. I just decided not to be a runner and got into a one-time domestic violence situation. How do I have a healthy flow of intimacy moving forward?
She's a runner. She's a track star, huh? Okay, but here's the thing that's interesting. So then you get into a domestic violence situation, and because you had already decided you weren't going to be a runner, here you are in a situation where you probably needed to run. What I want you to understand is nothing is either all good or all bad. These are coping strategies in order to help you survive. So you used to be a runner. You developed that coping strategy because there was a time in your life where you needed to run. And unfortunately, you needed to run and you learned that that worked in order to avoid pain, that it became easier to run in situations that maybe you could have jogged, or maybe you could have just stepped in place, or maybe it didn't require you to run at all. But by the time you got to that relationship, you had already experienced so much pain and trauma that running was a reflex. You didn't even have to think about it. You were, you down the street, and then all of a sudden you'd be like, damn, why did I run? Wait a minute, that was a good one. I shouldn't have ran. And then you don't have the opportunity to go back. And so what I want you to do is I want you to stop and recognize that I have learned how to run as a function of my survival. And I don't necessarily want to do away with that because running has taught you how to survive. What I want you to do is get into some great therapy. Yes. See how they hit the double claps? Yes.
I'm clapping too now.
There, come on. I want you to get into some great therapy so that you can learn other coping strategies that also not only help you to survive, but they also now help you to thrive.
Boom. Hey, as a matter of fact, look, listen, I know we said this is the for real last one because this young lady has been so patient.
Oh, in the which one?
Please don't
on the
leave nobody
video
in there for a long
Okay.
time.
Okay.
So listen, I'm about to bring Knox up. Knox, I see you've been patient up in here. Yes, I seen that smile. What up, Knox?
Nah, what's up?
Hi,
Thank
beautiful.
you. Can you guys hear me?
Absolutely.
We can greatly.
All righty. Hello to everyone. Love the podcast. My name is Knox. I'm 36. I live in California. And so my question is something that I think would actually be beneficial for everyone. I was keeping that in mind. I had been in therapy after divorce for 2 years, and then some changes happened with my insurance, so that had to go away. And so now that I'm looking to get back into therapy, I wanted to know some tips or suggestions on how to properly, I don't want to say the word vet, but choose the right therapist. What are some things that we can look for? Because obviously we can't all run to you, even though I would love to. What are some things that we can look out for in a good therapist relationship?
I think it's a great question. And listen, you can run to me.
I'm going to, but just in case it doesn't work.
Oh, no, I got you. And I love that. And thank you. Because as you said, I really can't sit with everybody. There's only 24 hours in a day. So the most I could do is 24. And I would never do that. Okay. But in all seriousness, really, it is taking stock of what brings you to therapy. Right. And then the reason why I say it that way is because the thing that brings us in is not always what we're going to be working on. So it's kind of like the point of entry, but that's a great starting place. It's like, do you know what you want to work on in therapy? And even if you don't know, that's what you want to work on in therapy. I don't know. I'm coming to figure that out. So the question is, how do you interview therapists in order to determine how they would deal with what you are bringing into therapy? So if you know I have anxiety, or if you know I have a history of childhood trauma, or if you know I have relationship issues and all my relationships don't last, whatever is your starting point, you want to find a therapist who is competent or who specializes in what you want to work on. And so when they come in and when you come into relationship with them, if you start there and then they realize that there are some other issues that you need, then they can help refer you to other people that they think will be appropriate for you. So you don't have to feel like you have to figure this out alone. Okay, that's most important. So when you get started, I always tell people, do not just open up your favorite search engine and just pick the first one and go, boom, that's my therapist. Please don't do it. You'll have your feelings hurt, and then we'll be having to repair you as you go because you've had all kind of trauma in therapy, and that's not what we want. Okay. Really, what I want you to do is I want you to find 3, 4, maybe 5 different therapists that you think resonate with you. I want you to give them a call and do what's called a consultation. And a consultation is usually 10 to 15 minutes. Some therapists may do a little less, some may do a little more. But you talk to that therapist, and what you're looking for is what we call goodness of fit. It's kind of like, how do I feel as I'm talking to this person? Do I feel comfortable, like I could tell them other things? Is there something that I'm hearing that feels like something just doesn't really feel like it's rocking with me? They'll ask you questions about what it is that you're coming into therapy for. They may tell you a little bit about themselves. They may tell you a little bit about how their policies work. They may ask you questions about yourself. You may have questions for them as you guys go forward. And then after you find somebody, what I say is still don't necessarily commit, but go to that first session with them. Sometimes you may want to go to a session. I had one client one time. She was absolutely brilliant and I love her. We've been working together for a while. But when she came in, she told me, she said, "You're the 4th therapist that I've seen this month. And I haven't decided which one of you guys I'm going to go with. So I'm just trying to figure out which of you guys rock for me. So here I am. Let's go." Now, I don't see it as a win or a lose. I just see it as a goodness of fit. I just happen to be the right fit for her and we were able to get some good work done. But it's really about for you, how do you do the work? And one of the things that I would say, particularly as the example that you just gave, because I think it's so important, ask the therapist also, how do they handle circumstances where your insurance may change, where you may lose insurance or anything of that nature, because it can be devastating, as you may already know, depending on how connected you were to your therapist. It can be devastating if you lose a therapist behind insurance after doing months or even years worth of work. And so you may want to have a therapist. I am one of those people. I always say money is not going to be the thing that stops our relationship. So if your insurance, you lose it or you change insurances, we are going to figure out how to stay in therapeutic relationship with each other, because I'm not going to let you go start with somebody else and be wounded in order to be able to continue this relationship. But I recognize not every therapist operates that way. So you want to ask the question. And if the therapist is like, "Well, you lose your insurance, you lose me," that may cause you to have a feeling, and you may have to really do some consideration, especially if you know your insurance changes every year or every other year because of the type of work you do or what brings you into your insurance.
Got it. And if I can ask one last question, I went to your Instagram page. Do you have any merch, books, anything that we can do to support you in any other way?
You are so awesome. I love that. We are going to be doing the merch because everybody always asks me about the shirts that I wear. I have a book that I wrote 1,000 lifetimes ago, but I got some good things in the works. So just stay posted. Follow me on all of my social media. How you can really support more than anything is make sure that you are commenting in these pages, not for my benefit, but for one another, because I really believe in community and people need to know that they are not alone. And you also need to know that you're not alone also. So stay with me, rock with me. We've been here for a lifetime. We're going. So come on, family, stay with us.
Thank you so much.
My pleasure.
Thank you, Knox. You have a blessed night, okay?
You too.
She's like, "How can I support? What's the book?
Man,
What's
listen,
the merch?"
I love that.
Dope.
That's so sweet.
I love that.
Now, here's the thing that she can do, though. If she really wants to support, she can support our pro bono and sliding fee scale services program, if that's okay. And that's one of the things that we do for Free Advice Friday. Usually when we're on our Facebook page, we do matching. So our family gives stars, and then our office matches star for star. And all of that money that we collect goes towards pro bono and sliding fee scale services. So that's what support looks like for us.
On the Facebook account.
Yeah, on the Facebook. Talk to Spirit, just on my Facebook.
First of all, y'all on that Facebook, y'all better be go ahead and supporting, because she been feeding y'all for a long time, doing this every single Friday.
Oh yeah, I love it.
So for the family that's on there, I want to go over there. Look, listen, support on that Facebook 100%. And man,
and it's so dope. I mean, we have folks who will, and one of the things, we heal out loud in our family, in our Free Advice Friday family. We are not shy. So we've had folks who come on and go, "Yep, I'm in Pakistan and I'm a pro bono client. Yep,
Wow.
I'm in South Africa and I'm a pro bono client. Yep, I'm in South Georgia and I've been seeing my therapist," because we have a lot of therapists in our office.
Yeah.
And so we are all about this work. We are all about the healing. What you see, this is real all the time.
It's fine. I was actually just talking to my lady, and I told her next year.
See, I'm gonna say it again. Why is she your lady and you not her man?
I like my. It's like
know,
possessive.
exactly
My lady.
I'm gonna go get her.
Here's the thing.
I
actually I was talking about, like, next year I wanted to actually get into therapy myself, because I've, like you said, I've been using a lot of things that have been therapeutic for me.
Yeah.
But not necessarily therapy. And it's funny, we're actually choosing an insurance provider right now. And I just wrote down, because the next time I spoke to the brother, I wanted to figure out the game with therapy, to figure out which one of those plans also
Now's the perfect
best.
time. It's open enrollment.
It is open enrollment. Right? That's why we having that conversation right now. So
here we go. So now is the perfect time for you to go and start interviewing potential therapists. Before you select your insurance. So go ahead, go interview folks and ask them, what insurance do you take? Or if you literally know what insurance providers are going to be options for you, go on to some of these search engines and look at who are the providers on those directories before you make the decision. And recognize there's a lot of ways to pay for therapy, okay? If you have an FSA or an HSA, load up your FSA or your HSA cards. It's tax-free. So you load that up at the beginning if you know you're going to be going to therapy, and use that to pay for your copays and your deductibles.
That makes perfect sense.
Think about your EAP programs. If you have a job, ask your EAP representative at your job, who is on the directory. Then sometimes you can layer in your EAP services with your insurance. So if your insurance only gives you a certain number of therapy sessions per year, let's say it gives you 12. But your EAP is there, and you look and you go, oh, this therapist, I like them. They're on my EAP directory and they're on my insurance directory. I'm going to utilize my EAP benefits first, and then I'm going to come back with the 12 health insurance benefits that I have. And then that way I'm going to get 24 sessions this year. Now I got half a year worth of therapy and I don't have to figure out the rest.
Boom.
Right? There's ways to listen. I'm telling you, there is ways to get your healing in. But you're thinking about it right, and it's open enrollment. So now it's the perfect time.
December 15th.
Come on.
I think it's closed. So
come on.
Well, yeah, we getting it popping right now. Ryan,
that was actually a question from Gijo Alexander, who's out of India. You guys have been blessing my morning in India.
See, I told you.
Isn't that crazy?
I'm telling you, our international family is real.
And Gijo, Tyshawn actually just answered your question directly. He is not in therapy because he asks, just want to ask, are y'all in therapy too? So I'm not in therapy. Tyshawn is not also in therapy.
Okay. I always tell folks, if your therapist doesn't have a therapist,
I remember you saying that. Okay, so it's safe to assume that you are in therapy.
I will be in therapy for the rest of my life. And I told my therapist he better not die, because I will bring him back to life, kill him, then bring him back to life again so we can finish. Therapy to me is like a roller coaster ride. It gives me a high because it allows me to relieve everything that is the burden of the stress that I'm currently going through, plus empowers me to plan out where it is that I'm trying to go and see myself constantly in new and evolving ways. Therapy has been a life changer for me. I promise you. And I have dealt with therapists throughout probably most of my adulthood. And I will tell you that not every therapist is created equal, and not every therapy is the same. You will use therapy at different points in your life for different things: work-related stress, family-related stress, deeper introspection, lifestyle, career changes, financial. There are therapists that specialize in everything. And I want you to think about it like having one of the best coaches in your life, having one of the best pastors in your life, having one of the best doctors in your life, because that is literally what we are. We are specialists of feelings, thoughts, and behaviors. And because everything is affecting or affected by your mental health, if you have the right person on your team, then everything in your life gets better.
Boom.
And it's prevention. It's not waiting until you're sick to have to recover from something. It's to ensure that you never, ever get so sick that you become debilitated, and to get so well that you can fly. I mean, I'm telling you, like, I'm sorry, I'm like excited about it, because if you get with the right therapist, it is life-changing. I cannot stress that enough.
Okay. Well, off the camera, I'll talk to you about some different recommendations.
I will get you together, boy. Come over to my office. I got 6 therapists for you to just start with interviewing and do a consult to see if any resonate with you.
You know what? Matter of fact, it's going to be beef if I don't go over that office. So, you know, I'm definitely
No, it's not. Listen, no, because I believe in right fit. I believe in the right. I will tell everybody, I am not the right therapist for everybody. And every client is not the right one for me. I am all about putting you in the right place. I have more people that I refer out than we bring in. You have to have the right person for you. Otherwise, you're wasting your time. Man. Seriously.
Let's get back to the people, man. Let's finish up these last few.
Okay.
We got all the video calls out. We are done with the video calls. We're gonna take these chats.
Done with the video.
We are done with the video. We're gonna take these chats. On to the way up out of here.
And I actually just dropped the poll, guys, because I thought that was a good question from Gijo out of India. I dropped the poll. Are you actively in therapy right now? I got yes, I like my therapist. Yes, but I need a new therapist. No, but I want therapy. And no, I don't want therapy.
Oh, you should have put in there. No, I've never had a therapist.
That would have been good.
Man, you always ask me to poll things. This is the poll thing he was talking about. Yeah. He always brings it up after. But the reason why I said that is because most people we know as therapists that most people will never sit down in a therapist chair. Even people who say, I want to, I've been meaning to. Yeah, I heard about that. No, I don't know about that. Most people will never get therapy. That's why as people begin to heal, the circle gets so much smaller.
Wow.
Yeah. And we never talk about that, about healing people who all of a sudden feel left behind or separate.
Okay, so we actually got a question that, because it's a few of them that I want to get to. So shout out to Sylvia and Carmen. Carmen asked, by the way, are you good, Dr. Spirit? Like, do you need some more water? You need it. She says,
no, I'm good. I'm good. I got my little water on the side. I appreciate you.
Oh yeah, because they think we over here starving. No, look, it's water right
they
here.
They gave me too. I promise you. I promise you. I'm good. I'm good.
Carmen was asking about that, so shout out to her. Before I get to the other questions, I want to go ahead and take Saritha's questions real quick because I think it's very relevant to what you just stated.
Okay.
Dr. Spirit, what is the best way to lovingly end a 18-year friendship that you've matured out of, and the best advice on how to grieve and accept this new reality?
Well, okay, this is where Tyshawn gets to practice the double claps, but I know he's going to be doing some other things. So come on. So Tyshawn, on 3, I want you to hit her with it. Okay. On 3, 1, 2, 3. Therapy. Therapy. Yes. Okay. And the serious thing about that is because, first of all, do not avoid the pain. And so many of us are looking to find ways to avoid the pain. Recognize I am closing a chapter in my life. And even though I believe this is what's best for me now, that doesn't mean it's not going to hurt. And it doesn't mean that I'm not going to feel guilty about it or sad about it or have regrets about it. So you have to acknowledge and take care of all of those feelings. And if we begin with the end in mind, how do you want to close out this chapter so that when you look back on it, you can feel good knowing that you did what was best for you and for the other person's feelings and for the relationship. And when I say for the other person's feelings, that does not mean taking care of them or trying to do this in a way that they want you to do it, but it means doing it with integrity. It means doing it with respect, and it means doing it in a way that it's clear and understood. So if we begin with the end in mind, how do you want to let the other person know that you are closing this chapter of your life, and this is where your friendship is coming to an end? And then how do you make sure that you have support as you go forward to meet the needs that that relationship used to meet for you if you still have those needs? Because this is what happens. A lot of times we revert back to old relationships because we haven't found new relationships to grow and lean into. So all of a sudden, when those hard time comes, when we get lonely, when we get sad, when we don't have somebody to talk to like we used to, we go, well, maybe I shouldn't. And all of a sudden we start going backwards when we should be going forward. So when you feel the loss, when you feel the absence, when you feel a need that needs to be taken care of, recognize that that doesn't mean lean back into what you left behind, but recognize that you haven't brought forth into your life now what you need in order to be fulfilled.
And there you have it.
That was good.
That was a really
I gotta
great
learn
question.
how to do that. That was I like how he did that.
No, you need one of these Adam's apples to do that right there. You gotta have that base.
Oh no, we're not never gonna have that.
You gotta have that base.
I'm gonna keep it. I'm gonna keep it rolling because they really flooding in, Dr. Spirit.
Let's go.
Shout out to Sylvia Harsey. She says it was something that you stated. I don't know what it is, Sylvia. You have to drop it in the chat again. But she was in agreement with you. But she did have a question. She says, "Is deja vu a spiritual thing? And can you use deja vu to help guide you in your decision making?"
Well, I think it's interesting because nobody really has the answer to that. We're getting into kind of the paranormal. But when I have clients who have deja vu, and for a lot of people who don't know what that is, that's like, I feel like I've done this before. I feel like I've been here before. I feel like this has already happened.
I feel like many times I feel that actually.
Do you?
Yeah.
And so what I like to do is I like to help them open that up to say, well, when you experienced it the last time, what did it cause you to feel? What did you do in that situation? And does that feel like what you need to be doing in this moment? What do you think the purpose of that is to be cycling back around? And sometimes, for all we know, that literally could be. I mean, a lot of people think that there are a lot of different timelines, a lot of different reincarnation pieces. I guess it just depends on spiritual belief. But oftentimes what that really is it's indicative of familiarity. It's things that your body has experienced that causes it to go, wait a minute, I know this. Something about this feels familiar to me. And so then it's really about how do we use that to harness? What is this moment, not the last one, but what is this moment trying to tell you? How can I help you connect and dial into yourself to get very clear on where you are so you can ascertain what feels like the right next step right now in this moment? Deja vu is a really interesting thing, but I'm all about
Very
empowerment.
interesting.
Yeah. So when you're like, dang, so Tyshawn, you said you've had it many times.
Yeah.
So when you feel it, do you get paralyzed and you just stand there until it passes? Or do you actually get activated enough to move through it, to use it to your advantage?
I've never thought about using it. I've always tried to reflect.
Yeah.
I always try to reflect on exactly, when I actually feel like I've had it, it usually is connected to a dream that I've had. And it's usually like a moment that I felt like I've had or I was already in a dream.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of in that picture of a moment in real life now.
Yeah.
So I always try to just think back to when did I see this? And it usually does take me back to a dream that I feel like I've had, but it's always really tricky when that happens.
Yeah, because so many people, we become so caught up by it that we become paralyzed. It's almost like, whoa, wait a minute. And we're just trying to get our bearings and we're trying to come back into our body. We're having kind of like this existential thing and we're so caught up in just the fascination of it that we're not empowered in the moment. We just become just frozen like, whoa, I've been here before, instead of what do you do with it if you've been here before? How do you use that as the cheat sheet in order to navigate right now?
Oh my gosh.
Right? Because that's the power. You've been here before. So what was it? What were you supposed to do? What didn't you do the last time? What did you do that worked? How are you feeling? Are you feeling exactly the same? Were you supposed to walk through that door? Were you supposed to say something? What can you gather and how do you maintain your bearings in this moment to use it to your advantage?
First of all, the next time that happens, I'm going to try to go deep.
See?
I'm going, that's so Raven.
See? Yeah, I don't know how that part works.
Right. What is that about?
Okay, that's good though.
I got another anonymous one that came in. So this is via email. So this one, she titled it Disrespect While Co-Parenting. So this is interesting. I'm in a situation where there has been a lot of disrespect from my child's father and his wife. Okay. It is almost difficult to have a conversation with him about our daughter without her being in the mix. I'm assuming her is the wife. I've tried to keep my anger under control, but it's very hard. I'm still trying to grieve after my father passed a year ago, and this custody issue has been stressful. I've been trying to find therapy that's affordable and will cater to my needs. Do you have any counsel for me?
Yes, I want you to know that there's a difference between counseling, which is what you're trying to get for yourself and good for you, because you have to be responsible for your own emotional regulation. And no matter if she's triggering you or he's triggering you or they're triggering you, you don't need them to help you do what you need to do in order to heal so that you have more bandwidth to deal with him or her or them. Okay. The other thing is, though, I want you to recognize that there's something else outside of counseling that you may want to consider for your relationship. And that's called parenting coordination. Parenting coordination is a type of counseling that is non-confidential. Okay. Non-confidential for co-parents in high conflict co-parenting relationships. And the way co-parenting counseling works and the reason why the non-confidential part is so important is because parenting coordinators have the ability to participate in your child custody situations. They can talk to judges, they can talk to attorneys, they can talk to the parties and bring you all together so that if you need to make modifications in your parenting schedule, if you need to make modifications as it relates to boundaries or the involvement or the enmeshment of step parents or intrusive grandparents or people who are unfortunately making the co-parenting relationship more conflictual, co-parenting coordination works to address those issues. And what I would suggest that you do is, if it really rises to the level that you cannot work this out with your co-parent, you may want to consider going back through the courts in order to get some court-mandated co-parenting coordination, which will require all of the parties to go through counseling and then work towards the benefit of the child, but also be able to talk to the court about what is reasonable and amicable that the parties can do in a healthy way, and the parts that the parties cannot do on their own in a healthy way. So that if a judge needs to effectuate some modifications in that parenting agreement, then maybe that needs to happen. And so sometimes what that may look like, Ryan, is a judge unfortunately having to step in to be able to say, listen, the step parent cannot be present when the biological mom is present to drop off or pick up the kids, or the stepmom cannot be present for certain activities if she can't control herself. But the other part of that is that before you get to that point, parenting coordination brings those people together. So mom and stepmom will have the ability to work together with a therapist. Mom and biological dad will have the ability to work together with that therapist. Dad and stepmom will have the ability to work together with that therapist. Biological mom by herself will have the ability to work together with that therapist. And so that therapist will be working with the entire parental unit, hopefully to help everybody understand what is in the best interest of that child is for everyone to govern themselves amicably, respectfully, and with dignity to raise a whole child instead of a fragmented one who is going to have to put themselves together after they survive the childhood that you three adults, or in a fourth, if you bring somebody else in at some point, create for them. So parenting coordination, look it up, think about it. And if you need some resources or referrals, hit me up. You can call my office and they'll hook you up.
And by the way, just so we could be clear for everybody on here, what is your office, by the way?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yes.
I just said it like they know. Well,
right.
my Free Advice Friday family knows. So our office is T2S Enterprises. It's T, the number 2, S Enterprises. We're based in Atlanta. We're a group behavioral health firm. So we have group therapy that we offer, but we also have a media marketing and consulting division. We have a nonprofit division. We do a whole lot of work in the mental health space. So as it relates to therapy, parenting coordination, separation and divorce counseling, you name marital services, premarital, like we do a lot of work. And so all you have to do is call the office, even if it's just to get referrals to other providers, if it's to get information. I have folks who do supervision for other therapists. We do consults for other therapists. We do a whole lot. So they can call over to the office. I'll give the number before we leave.
Boom. So there you go.
International too. So don't play, because we got a WhatsApp for y'all to call too.
Don't play.
Oh no, we get everybody together.
No.
Everybody's mental. Listen, we are a global community. We are all connected. That mental health that he is dealing with in India is dealing with us right here in the United States, and vice versa. So sink or swim, we are all in the same boat. We need everybody to have their wellness intact in 2023 and beyond.
One hell of a resource for you guys. One hell of a resource. So go ahead, check this out, Ryan. What you got? What you got?
Just one more.
We got the last super chat for the night, y'all. We taking the last one here for the night.
So just to confirm, so we got 2 more actually now. But
after he done made me do the drum roll,
see the thing is,
I want them both.
They're gonna keep coming in, right?
Come on,
so you gotta tell them.
Oh yeah, we're gonna tell. Wife is the last one in here. I mean, that's our moderator. We got to take. I mean, there's no question.
So before we take wifey, we're gonna do Dr. Knox. And this is a comment, but maybe you got some perspective on this.
Okay, come on.
She says, as I continue to meet myself, like you spoke about earlier, I'm invested in lifelong healing and growth. I look for it in a future partner, but it makes the dating pool much smaller, positioning myself differently.
Great and good for you. And the pool should be much smaller, because you are not. No, I'm dead. I was going to say I'm dead ass. I'm serious. The pool is supposed to be smaller because everybody is not compatible with you and you are not compatible with everybody. You are not looking for quantity. You are looking for quality among the partners that you are compatible with. And so if you want to be married to your one, it should constantly be whittling down and whittling down and whittling down, because you don't want to waste your resources, your time, your money, your energy, your heart space, your spirituality, your sexuality. You don't want to waste all of these things, because you heard me say wasted lessons, right? Learn the lesson, and you have learned the lesson. That means you will not be wasting time. You will be really considering choice candidates. So everybody that you are paying attention to in this small pool, that means when they capture your attention, they are somebody special. And maybe they are not your one, but they are worthy of the time and consideration. And you are going to be very selective as you continue to go forward. So get excited that when you meet yourself and the pool starts getting smaller and they're fewer and farther in between, you are either doing something right, or the part that if you go, something is not right, I want to be meeting more, then the part that you need to tweak is the where you are showing up. Show up more in the right pool. But definitely, you do not have to be out here in these streets meeting a whole bunch of them and then wondering, I'm tired. They're all around, but what's wrong? No, it's what's right. They are not resonating with you because most people are not healed.
Wow.
There you have it.
And I want to get to this one from Wifey, and it's an acronym. I don't think I ever asked Jasmine. I don't think I ever asked her what does the WIFE stand for. So drop that in the chat too. I'm just curious what the acronym stands for. But she says, how can a woman support a fellow woman that you love that has different values than you?
Oh, you can ask her. And see, different values are a blessing, right? Because different values show me diversity. And I believe that we have to learn how to appreciate differences, not just tolerate them. You know, we've grown in different generations. And so some of us that come out of especially like Generation X, you know, we learned about tolerance, and I tolerate. But what that really says is I have to tolerate you, meaning that my value system is above you and you're less than, but I'm going to consider you and I'm going to deal with you. I'm going to endure your presence and your differences. But the real deal is, how do we embrace different values, and how do we learn from different values, and how do we pour into people with different values and allow them to pour into us? And recognize you can entertain other thoughts and value systems without having to embrace them for yourself. Oftentimes we see people that are different from us, and then we have a problem with that. Like somehow something has either got to be wrong with them or something has got to be wrong with us. And we're going to challenge this, and we're going to argue, and we're going to fight it out, and we're going to debate, and we're going to pray for you and tell you that you are the one that's wrong because I absolutely have to be right. So instead of getting all caught up in that, you are asking such a beautiful question. And what I think it comes down to is effective communication. Recognize that when you meet somebody who is different from you in any way, different culture, different belief system, different set of needs, don't ever assume that you know. And don't try to love them in the way that you think is necessary or appropriate. Ask them. You can say to her, how can I support you now? What can I do that would affirm you? What are some of the things that make you smile? What are some of the things that you don't want to experience? What are some of the things that you're excited about? And as you begin to get to know her, you can feed her in just the way that she needs. Not because you had to guess, but because you were bold enough and transparent enough and courageous enough, and most importantly, loving enough and curious and interested enough to get to know her and feed that woman in just the way that she needs. And every woman needs a woman who shows up just to love her and just to tell her how amazing she is and to straighten out her crown quietly when nobody else is watching. I love to see women wanting to heal into other women, women wanting to love up and affirm other women. And we have not learned how to do that well because we're so in competition with each other in this scarcity mindset and this need to be validated. And we think that there's only enough room for one of us. And if you're winning, then I'm losing. And so we have to recognize that the sisters around us, they are not our competition. They are our tribe. And how do we feed our tribe so our tribe can continue to feed us? Because they are a reflection of us. So you ask, sis, how can I show up for you today? What's one thing I can do to lighten your load today? What's one thing I can do to make you smile today? What's one thing I can do to lift you up today? What is one thing I can do to show you how much I love and value you? And let her tell you. And if she doesn't know, then you already gave her the blessing because you made her connect to herself.
Wow.
Serious. That's so good. I love to hear sisters like wanting it.
Shout out to
that's
wife.
different. We need that. Shout out to you, wifey.
So Anissa
on,
actually is continuing to showing love. She was on the call earlier. He spoke to her.
Okay.
And she just lets us know, the podcast has changed her life over the past 5 months. Dr. Spirit, she's showing love for you as well because she's very appreciative. And I think this is a good point. I mean, she's starting a petition right now, basically saying you got to come back every month for Free Advice Fridays. That's basically, I didn't say that. Nissa said that. So that's what the people want.
I love it. I love it. And know that, and you guys got to come and do it our way, right? We mashed out, we collabed, and, we do this every week. Like I said, we do this every Friday on our Facebook page at noon Eastern Standard Time. We've done it on the Instagram page a couple of times too, so we can clock in and see faces. I love that. And we're just going to continue to grow. We're going to continue to collab, and wherever we can share the message, wherever we can help, wherever we can teach, wherever we can convey and help folks connect dots, that's where we're going to be.
So check this out. I know, listen, we just got an email come in from a brother. Okay, we gonna save it. We gonna save it.
Wait, no, because then I
you
won't
brought
be
it up
here.
now.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Well, he's got a very interesting story. So she says, first off, thank you for the content. It's helped him tremendously become a better version of himself.
Love it.
He says he listens to the show at the gym in the morning, so he never gets a chance to ask questions during the live stream. But his name is David. He lives in Fort Worth, Texas. He's 28 years old. Now, the title to this email is Your Average Black Guy. That's the title to this email.
Thing.
So I agree with that. So I want to give you context. Now, he says he makes about $50K a year working nonprofit. Okay. Now, it's been difficult for him dating in the dating world because he says that he's way more mature than people his age. He's getting better in every single way. He's read over 200 books, done a lot of stuff in the past years to get his life straight, right? He says, I'm an eligible bachelor, and he gets hit on at work and even told he looks like Kofi Cerebo. I think that's like
Who is that?
I think he's famous. I know
no
Kofi
idea.
is famous.
Okay.
No. So pretty much he's saying that he's a handsome gentleman.
Okay.
But he says to fast forward a bit, he says he's looking for somebody to connect with more on a mental and emotional level, but he finds it nearly impossible. And he asks what he should do. Now, this is the thing. He dropped his Instagram here. And I looked at his Instagram. He's a handsome dude.
Okay.
And he looks like he's an interesting
That's him?
dude. That's Kofi. And honestly,
Okay. Does he look like Kofi?
I'm gonna drop this brother's Instagram here. He kind of
Don't do that. You're gonna have all these. No, don't do it.
Don't do it.
Don't do it.
He kind of look like that.
Don't
though.
do it.
I'm
Now,
not lying.
is he asking a real question
he's a
or is
handsome
this a
brother.
hookup?
I mean,
What you want to know?
is it
like,
wrong
what's
for
the-
us to try to connect him?
What
I think the
do you
question
want?
the question is, how does he find mature women that are looking to connect, not just physically, but mentally and emotionally?
Oh, okay.
There's a disconnect there, though. First and foremost, you're in Texas. Do you know how populated Texas is? And excuse me, because these allergies are doing it again.
Right.
He is in Texas. He is saying that he is finding it difficult to find mature women in Texas. There are mature women, available women, ready, willing, and able women.
What part of Texas is he in?
Fort Worth.
Can't make
So
me
I'm not
believe
sure
it.
what's going on in Fort Worth.
Can't make me believe it. So what I'm going to say is you don't have to go outwards. You have to go in. There is something that's missing. I want to see.
Yeah, bro. I ain't gonna lie, I call cap. You a handsome brother in Texas having a hard time to find women.
It's not cap. It's disconnect. It's not cap. I promise you, there is a disconnect somewhere between his belief system and how he's showing up. He hasn't figured it out yet. So until he goes inward to figure out what is missing, and here's the thing, if you go outward and you start to talk to these women and really pay attention, they're going to tell you what the pattern is. If they haven't told you already, you probably have heard the same thing over and over and over. Your problem here, though, is that you believe that it's the women, and you've told yourself a story that there are no mature, available women who are compatible with you. I'm telling you, that is not it.
So it's something else going on.
It's absolutely something else going on.
Because I'm looking at the profile.
Let me see. You looking at the profile.
Okay. Let me pull it back up real quick. Hold on.
I mean, because if I'm not mistaken, Fort Worth is like an hour or so from Dallas.
I mean, he looks like an interesting dude, and he's saying that he's in the gym. He even said that he likes to meet women at church and at the gym. And
but see, it's not that. I need about 10 or 15 minutes with you, bro. For real. If you really want to know, come. I know I'm being serious.
What you think? He look like Kofi? He look like Kofi?
But it's not in the look. It's not in the look. It is something that is in the internal about the way that he is then showing up in the external. And until he gets to the root of that, he is going to continue to have the same pattern no matter where you look. So here's the hard part, bro. You can go on and handle that. I'm going to tell you. I mean, I'm just being real. I'm going to tell you, stop looking. Stop looking for a second, because it's seek and ye will find, but it's not seek externally. It's seek within yourself. You need to figure out what the pattern is. And so if we sit down and we look at the last several situations that have happened, I promise you that the pattern will emerge. And once you fix the pattern, you will fix the experience that you are having. I promise you. And most people just don't understand it. So then they tell themselves a story. I mean, I just can't find it. Nobody's serious. They're just the women. They're not mature. What is it about you that is not only drawn to, but chooses immature women? What is it about you? Because how did he describe them? He can't find, he's looking for two values. What did he say? Mature and what else?
Well, he's looking for the emotional and mental connection. And he says he can't find it in women his age or a little bit younger. He's 28.
So his age or a little bit younger.
Yeah.
I don't know why he feels the need to go a little bit younger. He hasn't gone a little bit older, but he's looking for mature. But we're not going to go there. We're not going to go there. All I'm going to say is there is a pattern and there is a conclusion that he's drawing. And I just cannot stress it enough. All we got to do is go look at go tap up the population of just Fort Worth.
Oh, no, is it? We used to do business in Fort Worth. That's how I know about that when we was wholesaling. Like Fort Worth it's not a small town, and it's next to Dallas,
huge.
And this college is it's flooded, bro.
It's huge.
Like,
listen, Gary with a T drugged me out there one time. I almost didn't want to leave. It was so fantastic. Dallas, Fort Worth, no.
Wow. Okay.
I promise you.
Yeah, bro.
I promise you.
Has to be something else going on.
Definitely
has to be
something.
Something.
It almost reminds me of, like, I hear guys talking about they in Atlanta, like, man, these women in Atlanta, it ain't no women. I'm like, bruh. What?
Listen, I don't care. I don't care where you are. I have had people in Alaska who have been like, yo, I can't find a person. And true enough, you may not necessarily be able to find your person right next to you where you are. But again, that goes back to you. It goes back to your strategies. It goes back to what you're willing to do in order to locate your person. But until you have the right strategies and until you can see yourself, because everywhere you go, there you are. So until you stop telling yourself a story about everybody else and start looking at the pattern of you, what am I choosing? What do I see? Right? Because it's not seeing is believing, it's believing is seeing. So what do you believe about the women around you? Because that is what you are sending out into the world, and that is how you are showing up in it.
Oh my goodness, it's not seeing, it's believing, it's believing, it's seeing.
Yeah,
I really want to know what that is. That's just a confusing thing.
Which part?
Just what could he have going on? Like, what could he be presenting out there that's, preventing him from finding,
tunnel vision.
So many things.
Tunnel vision. His conclusion is already that he cannot find
mature
women.
Women in Atlanta that say it ain't no good man in Atlanta. All these Atlanta guys be doing this and that. It's just then they just tell yourself all time a story.
Yeah. So then he says, I can't find any mature women who are emotionally attracted to me, who are emotionally compatible. And then you get into the work and then you recognize, wait a minute, I was emotionally unavailable. Wait a minute. I was choosing women who were childlike And then I dealt with them. And then I said, see, they're immature. But that trauma bond is what drew you to them to replay that out over and over, because your body is trying to signal to you, bro, we need to heal so that we can go ahead and step into the life that we dream of.
And so here's the irony. I'm looking in the chat right now. You look at this. It just says Boston is terrible. Chicago is ratchet. Atlanta's hurt as no man in Atlanta. First of all, based upon what y'all saying, y'all ain't gonna find nobody nowhere. The whole country is terrible.
Listen, I'm trying to tell you. Meanwhile, I'm getting folks married in Boston. I'm getting folks married in Atlanta. And I don't mean just to settling. I mean folks that want fidelity. I mean folks that want children, folks that want forever. Top quality people, healed people, healing people. But again, believing is seeing. If a certain city is ratchet, it's because you're hanging out in the ratchet places. It is the way that it works. We don't see ourselves in the experience that we are having.
Man, listen, first of all, thank you, Dr. Spirit, for coming up on here and setting everybody straight.
It's not
tonight,
setting everybody straight. It's just sharing the information. I'm
setting everybody straight on Free Advice Friday.
I'm giving you everything I got. I'm giving you everything I got in this brain. It's yours for free, for the taking. Please take it. They are seeds. Plant them, bloom them, let them live in you, water them, give them life, give yourself life. I just want to give you everything I got. It doesn't make any sense for me to hold it. I can't take it with me.
You can't.
This is legacy. Build your legacy. Rebuild your family. Be the chain breaker. Be the change you want to see. Don't wait for somebody else to give it to you. You can create it for yourself now.
And what I want you to...
I dropped that poll because they asked
me. Let's close that poll out.
Close that poll out. Are you actively in therapy right now? Yes, I like my therapist. Yes, but I need a new therapist. No, but I want therapy. Or no, I don't want therapy. And 54% of people says no, but I want therapy.
I'm trying to tell
you. And right on time, can you please drop the number? Because you said you were going to save it at the end.
Okay.
You have your
come on, I got
branch.
You.
Please go ahead and do your thing.
So no matter where you are in the country, you need help. We got you, okay? 888-718-2T2S. 888-718-2T2S. Or, because I told you, my international
718
2T2S. I believe that's like 2827, but just think about it. Okay. T2S Enterprises, right? Or to talk to spirit. Like, dang, I need to talk to spirit.
Oh, okay.
So 2T2S. Okay, you're gonna drop that. And then for my international folks, WhatsApp for y'all, unless you just want to call the toll-free number, but WhatsApp, that is +1 404 914 4782. Again, +1 404 914 4782. Okay, we are open Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And on Saturdays, 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And for folks that are doing after hours, that after hours, 24 hours a day, they want a session at some point. Please, let's not do it tonight, though, y'all. If you call me, don't do it tonight, okay? But tomorrow, how about that? If you want a session after hours, you call or send an email. Let them know you want a session after hours. Somebody will call you within the hour.
Boom. Okay? And there you guys have it. Y'all know we had to leave y'all with some resources.
Yes, we got you.
After something this heavy tonight. Thank you. Look, for everybody that came up on here, y'all know we've been working hard to create this space where people could come up on here, keep it real, be vulnerable, not be judged, and everybody get this learning, get this healing, get this growing. And I appreciate everybody that came up on here tonight and that will continue to come up and share with us in the future. Because as you guys know, we came to these, man, I'm loving the video calls we started doing. I'm so happy that we started doing this. I love seeing y'all faces. I love being able to connect with the initiates in this way. And I want to be able to continue to connect with you guys. So as you guys know, we do have our membership here. If you want to become an initiate here, please go ahead and do so. That's a big part about how we grow our channel. And that is a major part of how we make sure we always look out for our initiates. The emails, the video calls, we're going to make sure we look forward to giving you the best experience possible here on this platform. This platform is not for us, it's for y'all. And listen, we love you guys. It's time for y'all to go ahead and get some sleep tonight. All right, but as you already know, it's hardly initiated. Listen, we are out.